Hey, it's the Bennington Show on a Wednesday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. Just listening to that song, I got a feeling somebody has been watching Strange Days.
To Stranger Things. Stranger Things.
That's the name of it?
Is it Stranger? It's Stranger Things.
I've been calling it Strange Days all this time. It's a Netflix.
Netflix.
Every time it comes on, I keep going like that. Strange days are coming. Just feeling I'm part of it.
I am having trouble with this because both now I'm going to call it Stranger
Call
Days.
it Strange Days.
Stranger Things and The Night Of both are too vague names.
I know, too vague for me.
I need a character name or something that's like you've never heard before. Stranger Things, The Night Of both need a renaming.
Just call it Bob and Rick.
Bob and Rick.
Because you like character names. What episode are you up to?
I just completed episode 5.
Damn it. I'm behind you. I'm at 3. Chris, you've done the whole thing?
I finished the whole thing on Sunday.
Now, I got an email from Leslie that said Chris has seen the entire episodes. Gail had only seen one, and that's the first day that you guys said that I needed to watch it.
Yep.
And she said, but Gail was able to come up with why she liked it, where Chris just said, I liked it, and I watched it all. She's trying to push you ahead in your ability to be a critic,
communicator,
a connoisseur, a communicator, where you just say stuff like, I liked it. I liked the way it looked when I was looking at it. I like looking at it in my house.
She's like a teacher who's trying to get you to use that brain up there. Think about why you like it.
I think there's something else you'd like to get them to use, but that's just me. Because she trolls you in a way that is like, I'm paying attention to you, Chris.
Like a pulling of the pigtails, you mean?
Yeah, like, you know how he always has those pigtails?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get in your head. I know you got a meeting later tonight.
I have a big interview for my kicking.
A big interview for my kicking. Yeah, you are a great communicator. That's what it's called in life. We're going to bring you in for an interview for kicking.
A big one, though.
Make sure you're wearing shoes and socks for the kicking interview. It's big. You're still liking it at 5?
I'm really liking it. I think it's an excellent show.
All right, I'm at episode 3. My problem is I could get to 5 today, but then you'll be at 7. And I'm going to.
You want me to wait?
It seems like it would have been a nice thing to do, and then we could drive in together. I just feel like you know more, and then if I say anything, you're going to be like, really? You believe that?
No, I don't want to do that.
He didn't even see the Cheshire Cat yet.
I had to tell Chris that I don't trust him to discuss episode by episode with me. Because he already said something to me that was like leading, and I couldn't tell if it was something where it was like, he was like, testing me to see if that was true. And by the way, it was episode 3, so don't let him have a conversation with you, is where I was when he tried to do it.
You could have just stopped it. I don't trust him. And everybody would have said, oh, yeah, of course.
Because
we get it.
I don't even like when somebody says, oh, you like that character. Just wait.
Yeah,
and then you're like, well, no, I don't want it. What does that mean?
I hate that, too.
Or you're just like, or somebody's just like, wait till next episode. I want to even think next episode might be boring.
Can I tell you what I blame this on, though? Not even on a dope like Chris. Yeah. I blame this on Netflix. Why can't they just put it out once a week like TV does? Why let people like him that rush through it only half pay attention while they're doing it?
Yeah.
And then act like, these are the same kind of people. Chris would be like, baseball games are too long. You just sat down and watched 8 hours of Strange Days.
They need to speed up the game. That's all I'm saying.
You're not into this at all, Vito?
No, I was going to set up a premiere date for myself and watch it week by week.
I feel like you're not even part of the group right now.
I know. Normally you're right in the mix, but Vito, it feels so strange. Like I can't even.
Pokemon in 24/7.
I'm Pokemon, and this is my big TV season right now because Mr. Robot's back.
I went down last night to the Village Underground, and for the bonfire 1-year anniversary, and I was introduced from the TV show Billions. I got to meet, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Mr. Dan Soder.
Oh, my God.
So he's there.
Did you get to talk to him?
Yeah, I talked to him, actually they were shaving a twink, and, got to tell him what a big fan I am of the show, specifically his. He's just like a regular guy.
Really?
That's the great thing about
I
it.
got the sense that he was like that.
Just a regular dude, just like, hey man, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy watching. But it was a big fun last night. Those guys, their 1 year anniversary. There was, I don't want to give it away, but I did appear on Snapchat with them. So a lot of things are starting to pop right now in my career.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of platforms for you.
I'm on Snapchat.
Yeah.
I've done Periscope.
Yeah. You tweet.
All right, people are writing in, why can't I find Strange Days on Google? Probably because you didn't pay attention to the first 5 minutes of this show.
Keep trying.
Yeah, keep trying. It'll show up sooner or later. There's no way. Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
It's a terrible title.
As in, I guess, stranger things have happened.
Ah.
I think that's what it means.
So you are going to watch it, though, Vito?
Yeah, I'm going to get into it soon. Probably this weekend.
Wait till you get to the Christmas lights part. You'll go crazy.
Oh my God. Vito, see, that's why you're at risk. I'm
at risk. I'm at risk.
And this is why I'm going faster than I'd like to. I would like to watch, like an episode
How many
every
episodes altogether? 8?
8 episodes.
That's the new thing.
That's not
8.
enough.
That's what they do. It's vice principals is 8.
I'd like 12 minimum.
You know what? I grew up in a world where you get 23 to 28 episodes every year. And I'm talking about a Gary Marshall world who we just lost. I will say this. You always feel sad when someone dies. But I had the chance to meet Gary Marshall, read his book. I don't know if too many other people have had his life as good as Gary Marshall's. I mean, his life was just good and fun and crazy.
And I love that he was a guy who was always, like, he just continued to do what he loved. He was directing right up into the end. He was doing guest appearances up into the end.
Those movies were unwatchable for me. But they made money, those stupid New Year's Eve, Mother's Days. He was in his 80s and directing hit movies.
Yeah, like really big hit movies.
There was a thing for some reason, this is kind of what he was famous for. So he had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and Mork and Mindy all going at the same time. And it was like 3 shows in the top 5. And that he would just go from set to set. And I don't know why this always sticks in my mind. I guess because I was a kid when it happened. But he would just be eating fudgicles all day long. And there was a guy who his job was to make sure he was carrying around a cooler with fudgicles in it for Gary Marshall. And then Fonzie comes in and he does the A, and then we go to break. That's all we got to do. But I remember, I think he told me this story, or maybe I read it in his book, where when they were all had a hit show, he put together a softball team and had them go around the country when Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley were at the top, so that they could just see people. You know what I mean? Like they could see that it was a hit show because they were in L.A. and they were all young. And he said, you got to go out, you got to go to St. Louis and Kansas where people are. You don't see the people. And then they got the chance to see that, a stadium would fill up just to watch these guys play bad softball. I just thought, he was just a sweet man, a very, very sweet man.
Yeah. And everything he did, like his TV, all the movies that he directed, like they were all very like fun loving. And it's the kind of stuff that it's very comforting to watch.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it was just, some people get into the zeitgeist of whatever era that it is, But life changes. I mean, I've had the opportunity to see the political families go from the Kennedys to the Bushes to now the Trumps. The Trumps are the fun house Kennedys. They're just the Kennedys kind of on the other side. Donald Jr. last night got up and gave a rousing speech. And again, I don't necessarily agree with everything that is in his speech, but from the speech point of view, terrific job.
He did very well, I thought, yeah.
Here's what the Republicans do wrong. For some reason, their closer is always the dullest person of the night.
Why do they do this?
I don't think that they had enough confidence in the Trumps so far to think, hey, these guys should be headlining for us.
But I think that they should have modified that after Monday night.
Well, there's a couple things that I would say from a show business point of view aren't working for them. That, and you have to remember, people like us, we're going to watch cable news, we're going to pay attention, we're going to be reading. A lot of people just wait for it to come on network television. And I know that sounds crazy, but just look at numbers. The numbers are gigantic compared to Fox, CNN, and MSNBC. When you just put this thing on at 10 o'clock, people will watch it that don't necessarily consider themselves news people, which is a majority of the country, believe it or not.
Yeah.
They empty the thing out halfway through it. There's a dull speaker in the background, and you're like, oh, this thing isn't working too good. And it's honestly not true.
Yeah.
The hour before they get on network TV is pretty good.
I know, and they have the crowds chanting. I mean, it's very energetic while it's popping, but it's just a bad look to let it empty out that way. Like, you think that gives fuel to something that isn't even true. To just be oh God,
Well, there's another thing I hate. There's just not enough people in the convention, I guess, for security reasons. Conventions used to be packed. And I compared it to New Year's Eve the other night, where New Year's Eve used to be everybody. And now, yes, there's plenty of walkways and it's safer, but it's certainly not the same crazy party that used to be. The same things are true of the conventions. And because, for whatever reason, I don't know if anyone else has noticed how outright elderly the delegates are. They're not loud. They're not they're like USA, you know what I mean? And it sounds like that, you just ended up at a fucking buffet at 5 o'clock at night in fucking Fort Pierce, Florida. It just doesn't have the look or the sound that it deserves for everything that you're trying to do, momentum wise. So there's just a couple things that have nothing to do with politics, just straight show business things. They need to get a little more flash and energy into this. The other part of it is, we all know Hillary Clinton by now. You don't have to call her the devil. We get it. There's not a human being in this country that hasn't known everything this woman's done since 1992. You got to show us the other side of the coin. We're not getting any specifics yet. Like last night, I thought when Eric Trump was, Donald Jr. was like ripping public schools, I'm sitting there going, yeah, but where else are most people going to send their kids to public schools? We already have tons of great private schools for the people who can afford them or want to go into debt to afford them. I don't understand why you said that we should give tax rebates to people who do that. That's why don't I get a tax rebate? I don't have kids in school.
And for the Hillary stuff, that there's been so much focus on her and, the lock her up chant, just like throughout the whole, the last two nights. But yeah, they had Christie on there, and Christie's whole thing was just, focused on Hillary. But I feel like at this juncture, how many people, what percentage of Americans are either, I'm not sure, Trump or Hillary, versus just trying to target people like Donald Trump is worth you coming to the polls for?
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
To me, that's the bigger thing is like, hey, we know you're right leaning, but you weren't convinced that Donald Trump is somebody that you want to get behind, but we want to tell you that he is.
Yeah, because that is a big part of the story of Republicans that aren't showing up and, traditional conservative Republicans. But even people who are voting for Hillary still hate her. You don't have to worry about any of us not knowing.
No, her likability is not.
And we all know that the Clintons are batshit crazy. But we want to know what you're going to do that's different from that, because most people think you're batshit crazy too. We got to get some. It's time for Trump to say some specifics. I think just from that thing that would be something new and different and could light people up. Because I don't think the lock her up. This is like saying fucking, catch a greased otter. It's just not going to happen. She's not going to get locked up. And if she is, like the Joker, she'll be back out again and then mayor of something.
They can't keep her at the criminally insane.
Yeah, you do not have to, you don't have to, of course, that's his, Penny Marshall. People are bringing up that Penny Marshall is his sister, Gary Marshall's sister. And as the last person left with that Brooklyn accent, and literally they were the only two, you know what I mean? I guess the other producer, Phil Rosenthal, still has that.
Yeah, he does.
I love that. I love that accent.
Yeah, it's not.
What else
around.
are we gonna do? We got everybody food. That's how we did it. And you're just like, what? And Eva Gurian's is a lighter, weirder. It's a less pushy but constant pushy version of that.
I feel that the New York accent is dying, but I think that all accents are dying. I think that all accents are getting lighter, and that we are going to have less of those regional dialects.
Yeah, that's sad, because you want to go places in the country and not be able to understand people. You know, that's the funnest thing. But yeah, well, one of the reasons that it's moving so much is that most people don't live where they're from, right? And then their children grow up with kind of a half accent from both. And then, of course, there's so much TV and internet that you're just not basing your accent on people in your area.
Yeah, you have just exposure to how most people talk. Where, yeah, I mean, did you see this last night? I can't remember the woman's name who was from Arkansas. And she's like, this is what a real Arkansas sounds like. Like trying to call out the Clintons. Like, sometimes she has a New York accent.
Yeah. No. Well, I get it. We get it. She's slippery. She moves from town to town. There's no fucking doubt. You know, but just tell us what Donald's going to actually do other than make everything great.
It's going to be very great, though. It's going to be very nice. You're going to love it. Don't worry about it.
But, his family, I think, is getting solid hits all the way around, and I'm not even part of the. I'm not part of the Melania backlash. I'm still with her 100%.
I just feel bad for her. I know that it's not her.
You know what? Maybe she's crying in a giant dollhouse made out of gold. You know what I mean? I mean, you can feel bad for her like you feel bad for the Kardashians. Like, I'm sure they have sad days, but I watch them on social media, and they're lounging no matter where they go. This is the amazing thing about the Kardashians, is like wherever they go, they might as well be home. Like if they're at a store, right. Like where would you go shopping for clothes, Gail? Give me a name store.
Like if you were,
that women go shopping for clothes.
They would go to H&M.
Okay, they go there. And then they have a part that it's just like their living room is there. Like they move in couches and they're all lounging around and the whole family is there and they're just having little things to eat. And then they go to the gym and then there's a part of the gym that's just theirs, you know. And if they go to a restaurant, there's no one there but them. So it's kind of like a family dinner at home anyway. It's like they've moved home with them wherever they go in the world. There's so much lounging that it looks so incredibly comfortable. Like, I don't doubt that they're not working 16-hour days, but it's like if they were 16-hour days at home. That's how comfortable they've made the planet.
Well, they like to just be horizontal as much as possible.
It works. It absolutely works. I saw, I caught it on TV where it was when Kanye put out his clothing line, which was just batshit crazy and fucking fantastic.
Derelict.
Yes. It was just nuts. They're in Madison Square Garden and there's just people standing there while everyone else is going crazy. I don't even understand how this works. But, the ex-Bruce Jenner, what's his, name now? It's,
Caitlyn.
I was going to call him Cassandra. But he sees Kanye. He's wearing the clothes that she's wearing, the clothes that Kanye has designed for her, right? Kanye comes over, and Caitlyn gives him the biggest bro hug that you've ever seen.
Like a slap
like,
on the
there
back.
He is.
What up, dude?
Kanye! And it made me think, I don't know if Caitlyn is a woman so much as a guy who wants to wear women's clothing. And she was pretty much dressed the same as Kanye anyway. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of the skirt. I think that if she just did the gimmick where I'm comfortable in a skirt.
You think that there would be less people who feel like they have to define themselves either male or female?
Look at the comedian who dresses that way, the British comic.
Eddie Izzard.
He is totally comfortable with it.
Right.
And an entire audience is totally comfortable with it. Sometimes he doesn't even bring it up. Next time he comes out in the suit. I just think if you're comfortable with who you are,
right,
people are going to end up being that way, even if they don't like it.
His thing is that he's not trans in the sense that he doesn't feel like a woman. This is just like how he wants to dress.
But Caitlyn doesn't, date men or, there's very little that she's adjusted her life for. Again, I'm not telling her how to live her life. I could give a fuck. I really could. I don't care if everybody goes transgender. I'm just saying it's not exactly living like a woman. And I'm not the one who brought it up. Caitlyn did.
I think that we should have a trans day where everyone swaps gender so we could see what it's like.
Easy for you.
Hey! Well, I don't need to go buy anything new.
No.
I don't need any new interests or friends.
I think you and Vito could do that day. Vito still dresses like a toddler.
Yeah, I got my Pokemon hat and my nice collared shirt on.
Actually, every interest that Vito has is of a 3 or 4 year old. David, what's up?
Hey, Ronnie, how the hell y'all guys doing?
Hey.
Trump Jr. could have took some pressure off Melania last night simply by just starting to speak 7 years ago.
The thing that would be great if that was your joke, but it's everywhere, dude. And I would love it. I mean, if it was the first time I heard it, I'd be laughing.
I swear I haven't seen that anywhere, man. I promise you I haven't.
I guess it's
parallel thinking.
Yeah, parallel thinking. But I don't, my thing about Melania, I would not judge her for anything. I thought the organization should have taken care of her, but to me, it's almost no big deal now. I mean, she's not running for office. I'm more interested in where Pence's head is at, since he'll be taking over, not Melania. And right now, you pick a Trump kid, and I'd rather have them as vice president than Pence.
Right. I have
very little problem with anybody I see in the Trump family. I think the youngest girl was probably thrown up a little too early last night.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 22 or whatever.
She's just a kid. Yeah.
But they put her on very, very early. But again, I thought Donald Jr.'s, I thought his speech was very, very solid, very well delivered. For some reason, it took a while for him to warm up that crowd, though. Like, he had him by the end, but I'm like, why does he got to win over this crowd?
Yeah, they know who this is.
I don't know what they do there. And I think it looks terrible. Again, they do it during the last speaker, and then you'll just see Chris Christie talking with other people. You know what I mean?
They do interviews while someone else is speaking.
Not only do they do interviews, but you see them going around meeting other people and shaking hands, and you're just like, half hour is all I want you to do. Like if we had a movie premiere, I don't want you to go, oh, I want to talk to you later. I think you're great. Just fucking wait.
I think more than anything with the Melania scandal, it's not her fault, but the thing that I think it does prove is this Trump point that he brings up, that he's going to be surrounding himself with the best people. And obviously this is an error on people that he hired.
Again, maybe, but it's more about the organization itself. It was just a fuck up.
Yeah.
You move on from it.
Now, last night, I was watching MSNBC during the convention. And somebody had come on and they were asking, okay, so I have this source on the Trump campaign, a staffer. Mm. And they're like, so they called me. So this is a reporter for MSNBC. And they're like, so I spoke to them on the phone. They said everyone is still very upset about, they feel very bad about Melania because, everyone was really pulling for her. But there's a lot of paranoia about who made this mistake and, what does this mean for the staff? When people have an inside source like that, Do you think that that is an actual inside source, like somebody's like leaking information? Or is that the Trump campaign says, look, there's going to, it's a better connection if it's like a secretive thing where you're feeding them information that they want to hear?
Both.
You think it's both?
And that's not even all of it. A lot of times your inside source can be somebody from another news organization who says something. You don't have to say who your source is. And I've always hated when they say, a lot of people are saying that you're an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give me specifics. You know what I mean? Who exactly said that I'm an asshole? But it's such a double-edged sword because you kind of can't do things without inside sources. Let's say if there was some oil company that was just deciding to dump oil into the Gulf on purpose at 3 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning, and somebody from the organization knew it and said, look, I'm going to tell you this, but I don't want to lose my job, or I won't be safe if I tell you this. So yeah, that's the kind of inside sources. But when E-Rock goes to Reddit and drops little hints about Opie's show, that's wrong, in my opinion.
You shouldn't do that, E-Rock.
Yeah. So that's the weird thing, that's just because you have an inside source, it suddenly seems like it's the most trustable thing in the world. But then if you heard it was Donald Trump's caterer, you're like, gives a fuck,
Right.
And that could be an inside source.
And it is strange that for some reason people blindly listen to it more rather than if they
I know. I go, fuck, inside source. Jesus Christ, this is big. I didn't know this. You hear what the inside sources are saying? Back in the 80s, we had ab scam. Culture Club was there. Catch a goo-goo. The Hard Rock is putting on shows every night, and whoever is on stage says something bad about the Republicans, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I've seen that audience. I doubt very much that they're watching, whoever these bands are. This audience leaves at 9:30 or 10:30, not because they have parties to go to. It's because they're sleepy. These delegates are incredibly old. They're going, we're trying to find a black delegate. I'm like, find one under 50. Just one. Here's our buddy Kyle. Kyle, what's up, pal?
Hey, guys. Not a huge political guy, so apologize for kind of interrupting.
No worries.
Hey, so I don't know if you remember, I called last week and told you guys that I got a little gig with Tito's because I listened to your show and met them and knew all this stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call. I got my first show with him tonight. Want to know if I could get a little Bennington bump from you guys.
Yeah. What exactly are you doing, Kyle?
Tonight, we have like a DJ they have like one of their, it's kind of like a Airstream bus that goes around to different places. And I'm doing all the production, doing all the sound and lighting and everything, just vibe for them. And it's tonight at 6 o'clock at the Tustin District in California. So if you're around, come and check it out.
All right. We're going to be talking with those folks later today, so we'll be able to bring that up to them. But that's very cool, Kyle. Thanks for calling, pal.
No, thanks to you guys. You're the best.
Peace. I'd like to turn it into a Gary Marshall memorial, but that's just me.
Yeah. I think that would be the right thing to do.
And then Mork is going to come in and give me another fudgicle.
I love that he loves fudgicles.
I don't know. I think he eventually, like anybody who's an addict, had to quit at a certain stage of his life. But
They're very delicious, low calorie too.
Not if you eat 80.
Oh,
every day.
That is a problem.
Most of his meals.
I'm going to need 80 fudgicles in here today. I'm going to talk to my sister, and she's fighting with Shirley. Laverne and Shirley used to hate each other. Hate each other.
Are you kidding me?
Hate it.
That is so shocking to me. I just assumed that they were best friends.
I don't think everyone does, but I don't know if they talked to each other more than twice after the show was over, some kind of reunion thing. But they both would be in their dressing rooms counting words to make sure the other person didn't get more words than them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And they live together. Which is the weirdest part of all. I think Shirley ended up being Kate Hudson's stepmom. Didn't get along with them either.
Really? Maybe Shirley's the problem.
Kate Hudson, I think, even calls her stepdad like dad or papa or something. That's how, like, she considers him the father.
That's the real dad.
You know, I think if any of us had Kurt Russell as a dad, we'd be thrilled.
Oh, yeah. I might just call him dad.
Go ahead, help yourself. I would have no problem with it whatsoever. Kurt, I've been replaced. Can I ask you a couple things about Snake Plissken? Is all I would say to him. And then Kurt, his son, is in the movie that me and Vito love, that none of you guys will watch because you're too busy with Strange Days.
Wait, what's your favorite
Everybody
movie?
got some.
Oh, yeah.
Or everybody wants some. I'm just becoming a bad title guy, no matter where I'm going.
They're not important.
I'll say this, and I'm not saying anything about any of you guys, but I went to the bonfire show last night. Those people treated me like a king.
Really?
And I'm like, why can't I get treated this way on a regular basis?
Guys, come on. We got to do better.
Maybe you guys don't even want me here.
No, we do.
I think I got a top of my head headache from heat. It's very hot in the summer.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a headache that lasted like 2 days.
I think we're not drinking enough.
Cheers.
I can't look at your lipstick on my cup.
What? It's not that gross.
Lipstick on your coffee cup. Chris loves to write stuff up instead of sending it to me. I don't know why I never tell you. Now you just take it down. You're not going to tell me or show me. We have an emergency broadcast test we have to play by 12:46. Don't have to break to play it. Now, that isn't something that you feel like you could say on the air. You have to keep it secret.
Didn't want to interrupt you.
There are times that I stop talking. You're here. Just say it. Go ahead and say it. Let's just act like we're doing it.
Okay. Lipstick on your
collar. But anyway, Vito and I love this show.
Ron, we have to play.
Chris, please.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm talking about a movie me and Vito watch.
Chris, you fucked up.
Vito, who's in there with you today?
It's me and Spencer Berger.
No extra person?
No, just me and the Spence man.
Yesterday we got the tan girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to bring this up, but she's so tan. And she's like, I think I'm sick. It's not a good tan. And I was like, no, you're fine. But I noticed this. The palms of her hand are tan.
Okay, that's maybe true then. Because I was thinking, it's summer. You're not realizing. You're just out and about more.
You lived in Florida. You got very tan.
Yes.
Ever the palms of your hand get tan?
No, I believe they've maintained their
Look, everybody
original
here
color.
just looked at the palms of their hands.
Can't
say,
possibly.
I mean, a monkey will have white palms, you know? And that's a different species.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say her hands are poles. She also was freezing in the studio, and then she says, I'm so cold, and she would just bare her shoulders.
Yeah, because she would rather the hands be warm.
The tan palms.
Oh my God, this is probably where the problem starts.
Yes, she's got to keep those tan palms warm.
Something's going on with that girl.
I'm actually, and this is weird, the name of my boat is Tan Palms, but I meant it for palm trees.
Okay,
you know?
That's weird.
But when she said that, I'm like, oh my God.
Normally when people tell me about their health problems, I'm like, it's not my business. But hers was so intriguing.
Yeah.
It's like watching half an episode of House and then
I ran into
TV
somebody
going out.
yesterday I haven't seen in like 10 years, and they just told me all their horrible health problems.
Oh.
And the thing was, I was being called to do something else, you know, because we're doing a show and all. And I had to say, look, I got to go up on stage and help the bonfire shave a boy. I hope you get better. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very uncomfortable thing to have to cut that conversation.
I just want to scream. I'm not a doctor.
Cut that conversation short.
And then I'm like, well, you're doing well now. And they're like, not really. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't know how to get out of this. I mean,
but everything's better now, right?
I didn't know how to even say, look, I've literally forgotten about you. You know? And now I don't know what to do with the information.
Now you're back and worse than ever.
Really, it's really, really sad.
Don is healing up.
I know, but I had to hear about that too, and I'm like, what is this, an episode of House? I can't. I got tan palms. I got somebody who's got poison ivy enough to die. There's this other person who I'm going to protect their anonymity. I'm just not going to say what their name is. But I'm like, dude, I can't do anything. I mean, if I had a glass thing, I could start writing on it with my young interns, being there. But I can't. They've taken away my chance to do medicine. And they said, let me know if this is prejudice. A high school degree is not enough to operate on someone. And I said, since when?
That's not right.
I get in there, I scoop it out, and I sew it back up again. Scoop, out.
Yeah, most of that is just on your own instincts anyway. You don't need education for that. You don't want someone overthinking it.
It seems easy to identify something bad inside the body.
Thank you, Chris.
Just take a look. Like that looks a little dark. I'm going to take that out. Or scoop it.
Did he just say scoop it?
I certainly did.
Or scoop it.
Scoop it.
Scoop it good. Caress that scoop. Time to take a poop.
Pupe.
What are we, Big Brother tonight, Till?
Yeah, Big Brother
I
night.
got a fucking busy schedule. I might have to cancel Montreal.
No.
I can't keep up with everything. Well, we're going to be up there doing a Democratic convention, right? I can't fucking play that game.
That's the last night of the Democratic convention?
Yeah, and that's eviction night for Big Brother when we first get up there.
Oh, my God.
Fuck.
We can't make it.
That's going to be a big eviction, too.
And, by the way...
How do you know?
Well, I believe people are saying that's going to be the first eviction where there's no teams. They're saying
What people?
People on the Big Brother boards, which I frequent.
First of all,
these are theories.
Every other fucking eviction up to this year has just been non-teams.
Yeah.
So the teams have been stupid.
I don't really
And
like
so's
it.
Roadkill.
I hate Roadkill.
And I hate every person playing. This is a terrible year.
Even Frank?
Well, I don't know.
Nicole sucks.
Love Nicole.
She loves Corey, though.
But I don't want to get finger blasted, Corey.
Corey's always trying to finger blast me.
Last night I had to work his balls for a while. Oh, damn it. I'm going to go on the block. I don't know why I don't have an ass.
You guys can all come to my room in Montreal for a eviction party for Big Brother.
Who says you're getting a room? You're going to be standing up front.
Oh, and meet me at some local bar. We can all watch the eviction together.
Why are you trying to turn this into social time? You're going to be fucking following Gurion around with a 1984 fucking camcorder.
I know, I got my schedule yesterday.
You know, the other problem about this trip is I found out that Pokemon Go has not come to Canada yet. So that's several days. I was excited. I thought I was going to get new types of Pokemon.
Somebody was showing me their Pokemon Go last night at the big bonfire anniversary. And then their thing just went to the IFC Center to show us that the IFC Center is close. And it's a great place to visit.
As landmarks?
I had no idea what it was. I don't think it's a landmark. I think it's a place to shop. I don't think they're going to show you the Statue of Liberty. I'm telling you, you guys have set up for some fucking capitalist nightmare. Hey, Nick, Sanddog, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddies. Did any of you guys get weirded out when Crazy Pussy won the Roadkill challenge? Like, it seems a little rigged. Like, it's that new element, like, just too perfect with everything that's going on to give her that power.
Yeah,
even the rules to the game were, like, weird. Like, you don't have to fully complete something. It's like, got to do as many as you can, but the time is also a factor. It's like, there's no way that fucking bitch won that challenge.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really consider that as they don't do it in front of each other. No. Everyone's alone, so you don't know people's time.
Yes, it's like, and I heard Ron say this is the first year that they put in like a third person, so it's like it just seems like a way for them to.
Well, keep having good television. You know?
Exactly. I don't blame them. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing, Nick. If they get caught doing shit like that, I mean, everybody's going to make money.
Is it big shit? Like they would actually be in trouble?
Yeah, it goes back to the 1950s or early 60s when all the game shows were rigged. I think the $64,000.
Yeah.
And it actually went before Congress. There's a whole movie about it that Robert Redford shot that is just amazing, where the guy says, do you ever notice that a Jew wins one week, then a Gentile, then a Jew? And the guy's like, stop it. And then he goes down and checks the records. He's like, fuck if he isn't right. We're going Jew, Gentile, Jew, Gentile. And because I think they like to see that a Gentile would beat like an egg-headed Jewish person. Like, you get a real waspy stud that would just dominate some like really smart Jewish guy.
We have a minute and a half to play our emergency broadcast test.
Let's start right now?
We can play it right now, yeah.
All right, we'll be back in 1.5 minutes. Don't worry. This is not an emergency. We just want to be prepared for one does come. It's the Bennington Show.
This is a coordinated monthly test for Sirius XM radio. Equipment that can quickly warn you during emergencies is being tested. If this had been an actual national emergency, official messages would have followed the alert tone. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system.
The next time you hear us playing that, either Trump or Hillary would have won the presidency. And that would be an emergency for you to run and hide. Here is 4. Sheldon, what's up?
Hey, I just caught a part of the show where you were talking about somebody having darkened skin.
Yes.
And I wanted to say that can be a sign of Addison's disease, so that person should get checked out.
Yeah, I think that's what she even brought up, right?
Yeah, she is. She didn't say specifically what she thinks it might be, but she thinks it might be a condition, and she is seeking medical help and finding out if it is severe in some way.
I think it's Addison's disease based on her new haircut and tight Greek body. Kyle, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I think the tan on the palms of the hands, I think she's not admitting to going to the spray tan booth.
Oh, that makes a little more sense, though, right? But she swears to it, and she's panicking about it.
She
Yeah.
swears that there is...
But can I say another thing? She also says she can walk in heels. And that walk...
Yeah.
Baby deer.
Well, for some reason, your feet are 4.5 feet in front of your head. she
Takes a lot of practice, ladies.
The old keep on trucking pose.
I love that keep on trucking guy.
That dude was popular for like 6 years, and then he would have a thumb up while he was doing it, or sometimes a peace sign. But that keep on trucking guy, he just loved trucking.
He's just trucking. He's so great.
That goes to show you how weird the 70s were. People were like, thought of walking as entertainment. Like, walk around, dude.
Just keep on trucking. Like this dude does.
And sometimes people would even use it as a way of saying goodbye. Like, okay, man, keep on trucking. What?
Really? That was
Yes, that's why I said it. Here's Dave. Dave in Canada. What's up, buddy?
Hey guys, just to let Gail know, when she comes to Canada, I'm not sure if it's officially here, but I know they're playing Pokemon Go.
You're saying that there is Pokemon Go
in French, though.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, my kids were looking for those little buggers all over the place, and yeah, they've been playing it for a couple of weeks. I think they've downloaded the app unofficially.
All right, I love it. I was concerned that I was going to have to take a couple days break.
Ease your concern. You can go crazy up here, too.
You'll go crazy. All right, Dave McCoy tweeted to us, wait, was that a real emergency? No, Dave, if it was a real emergency, we would have alerted you to it. It's a test. That's a test that we do monthly to make sure we're here if there's ever an emergency that has something to do with the entire country.
Well,
and then when you hear that sound, be scared shitless.
Yeah.
A storm or a wave is going to threaten an entire country.
And there'll be specifics. You'll get the details.
Dude, what are we talking about? We should fucking make a cheap sci-fi just called the Super Tornado. A tornado that could hit every place in the country at once.
Is it so large or it's just so fast and powerful?
Both. This is what happens at a pitch. Suddenly I'm not prepared for it. I was just thinking super tornado. I like the idea that it was so big, right? That we see it just rip off the tip of Africa and we see it's coming here. Now, New York would be lucky because we have a tunnel system set up. Actually, the basement of the building I live in, they say you can go into for a nuke blast. So far, I haven't had to use it. You too, Vito?
Every building in my neighborhood has that. Like my gym's cafeteria in elementary school is a fallout shelter.
Yeah, because they're made out of just like when they made those buildings, they were serious. Now all the Trump buildings will be sucked up into the sky. You know, all the glass buildings.
Yeah, definitely.
You ever been up in those glass buildings? They're like impossible to keep cool or warm. Like you get up there, a friend of mine had it, beautiful view. And you're just sweating the whole time you're in there, and you're like, can't you turn the air on anymore? And he's like, I got it on as much as I can.
Because you're getting so much light in there?
Well, there's so much glass is taking that heat in the summer. And it just becomes like a fucking greenhouse effect.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to survive.
Logan says he's got a spy report.
Spy report.
Logan, what's up?
Hey, that's a new sound. Yeah, man. So it just came across the AP wire that the speechwriter for Melania Trump admits mistake and offers resignation.
I wonder why it took so long to find somebody who would take the money to take the fall. So
Trump, the merciful, rejects the resignation.
All right, so here's what Meredith MacGyver said. I feel terrible for the mistake. I was mistakenly wrote down parts of Michelle Obama's speech. What? That can't be a mistake.
So she's acting like she liked the speech. She was like, we should model it after this, and she forgot to replace.
All she said is, I wrote down passages mistakenly.
That doesn't sound like a normal mistake.
I mistakenly wrote down passages from Michelle Obama's speech. She offered her resignation, but she does such a bang-up job as a speechwriter, she was rejected. Meredith MacGyver. MacIver. That doesn't sound like a natural-born American to me. These Scottish people are coming over here and taking over our speechwriting jobs. Our speechwriter should be Chris Stanley. He had a story that he sent in, and the should-haves and would-haves were at an all-time high. But my favorite is that you put in the title, Home Ron. And I'm like, I have got to change that to my nickname.
By the way, you had written me an email where you had said, no, it's not a mistake. I just assumed that it was a weird thing where you were using IE and you used it twice, but you had capitalized the I. So I thought twice in an email you did like lay, like the.
I think I'm talking French.
Well, yeah, or like however people, you know how like, for some reason that was like a thing on the internet?
Oh, that was a really shitty meme.
Yeah, like annoying meme. I thought you were doing that, and I was like, God, this is annoying, until I was like, oh, IE with a capital I.
Jesus Christ.
Well, be easy on yourself.
Yeah.
Your head's in the kicking right now.
It is. 8 days. 8 days left till training camp with the Giants.
8 days a week, my friend. Tim, Florida.
Yeah, Gary Marshall said that one day he was leaving the studio, and Laverne and Shirley were leaving the studio. He said he would have ran over him with his car.
He just wanted to run them down?
Yeah.
It's really great. He comes from a time where, like, those kind of writers were just meat and potatoes guys, you know? And then he became a producer and just kind of a meat and potatoes producer. Like, he lived a really good life. He was a wealthy man, but he never kind of dressed or acted like it, you know? And that's when we did Pretty Woman. I got a girl to come in, a nice, pretty little girl. This is really, really a sweet guy. Sean, what's up?
Yeah, Trump's speechwriter wanted to resign as soon as it happened,
But her resignation letter was lifted from an earlier resignation.
That was a very quick joke, and guess what? Pretty good prize closet, my friend. That's not, I don't even know if I want to hear the song anymore. Yeah, go ahead, play the song.
It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize. Prize closet. We have good prizes. It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize. Prize closet. We're pretty good prizes.
Hey, man, good job on that one. So I got for you, No Reservations, signed by Aaron Eckhart.
All right. That should have like a better ending than just Aaron Eckhart. But all right, there you go. And I don't think normally there's No Reservation. Aaron Eckhart is a guy who I believe should have been a bigger star. Everything that Chris Pratt is today, Aaron Eckhart should have been.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you think would have had the same roles?
Yes, if he, when he was younger.
Yeah.
Could have went to him. And quite frankly, more. But, did you ever see...
Handsome fella.
He is a handsome fellow. I saw him on the street one day, too. It was actually outside of something, and he was just hanging out with the crew, and was just ball busting. It was just like, didn't seem like a movie star, seemed like a guy who just, had a job. But did you ever see A Company of Men? The movie A Company of Men?
No, I don't think I've seen it.
You will. It's an unbelievably great 90s movie. Looks like it was made for $250. They made it in Canada, and it was like two dudes on the road who they're bored and they're just corporate dude bros. One is, kind of masculine, very dude bro-ish.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's kind of a nerdy dude bro wannabe. And they're like, hey, we should just start fucking around with that deaf girl, make her think that we dig her. And it is brutal. It's also hysterical, and then brutal, and kind of funny, and then brutal.
Oh, this sounds so uncomfortable.
It's a fucking great movie. The guy who wrote it is a playwright. You'll know his name immediately, but
yeah, that's
everybody
what I was
gets
gonna say.
really mad at this guy. He writes like a lot of misogynistic stuff. That he's like this.
It's driving me nuts. I know the guy's name.
Neil LaBute.
LaBute, yeah.
LaBute.
LaBute.
You're thinking of the
LaBute.
boot because you got a kicking interview later today. Why are you calling it an interview rather than a tryout?
Well, no, I've been invited onto a podcast to talk about my...
Oh! That's what we're not getting.
Yeah.
What's the podcast?
It's Off Balance 3, a sports podcast hosted by Aaron Rodgers from the Raw Dog channel.
Aaron Rodgers, the fucking ball player.
Holy shit.
This is amazing. Chris Stanley is going to be with the quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. So for all you people that said Chris is just running a work on you, then why would Aaron Rodgers, MVP of the NFL, want to sit down and talk to him? This is amazing stuff.
Actually, that was a mistake, Ron. Aaron Hodges.
Oh, that changes everything fast.
Yeah,
you did say
Slip of the tongue.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Slip
Well,
of the
Aaron
tongue.
Hodges is great too.
Yeah.
It's an old
He's
LaBute.
actually a big boss here, right?
Yeah, and he's invited me on.
Yeah. But he's like a big, well-known guy in the sports world. Well, I hope he's not trying to expose you.
No, there's nothing to expose, Ron. I'm putting on a kicking clinic for him outside. And he's going to interview me. It's going to be amazing.
Now, the problem is I thought it was going to be Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
So we can all hear this?
Yeah, Off Balance 3. I'll find out when he's going to post it, and I'll be periscoping the interview as well.
Oh, okay, so this isn't on Sirius XM.
No, it's on Sirius XM.
All right, so is this anything?
It's very big, Ron. There's a groundswell of support coming because people are hearing about my quest to become a New York Giants kicker.
Are you getting a lot of support?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Check out the Periscopes. People are just loving me right now.
I see just like a lot of hoof comments.
Those are positive.
Yeah.
It's foot related.
Someone just pointed out a line that I had last night that I wish I didn't have. I was with the Bully Boys about people in wheelchairs.
What did you say, bully?
I don't want to say. Now I don't want to say. I wonder how they got down there, man, because I never saw any other way to get into that room other than those really steep steps.
I don't know.
I mean, we're well underground. I mean, it's called the Village Underground. Did they have an elevator? Then why aren't the acts using it? What? Notice I didn't even say stars. I just said acts. Hey, let's go to Jeff, Buffalo.
Hey, Ron, it's Mushroom Man. How's it going?
Have you seen the Mushroom Man? The Mushroom Man. What's up, Jeff?
So last week, Chris talked about how he couldn't stand portobello mushrooms. But when I told him nobody should like mushrooms, he thought I was crazy and called me the crazy Mushroom Man.
Yeah.
Well, you are the crazy Mushroom Man. But portobello mushrooms suck. There's just one. Other mushrooms are good.
Wait, when did you get to that
point? Exactly the same as any other mushroom.
No, they don't. Portobello mushrooms just taste like tasteless, weird.
It's not true at all.
But you said you hated all mushrooms, right?
Same as all mushrooms. Portobello tastes exactly the same.
Portobello mushroom is not even like a very strong. Like if you said you didn't like a shiitake, but you liked most other mushrooms, I'd say, oh, interesting, too strong for you. Portobello is very mild, and I don't find it to be much different than just like a regular white cap.
Also, I was always curious about this. Why? Because some people don't have the taste for something. Do they say it sucks rather than I don't enjoy that kind of mushroom?
For example,
I think my mushroom take's objective though, because like I said, anybody that walks into a supermarket, picks a mushroom off the shelf, bites into it, they'll say it's horrible. Guaranteed.
I have eaten straight mushrooms raw.
It's just not guaranteed. Many people.
You haven't.
Salads are filled with raw mushrooms. People
all over the
eat
place.
Raw mushrooms. This is crazy. But that's also like saying corn on the cob is bad. If you just go into a supermarket and bite into it, you like it. And by the way, raw corn can be delicious.
The crunch factor.
Well, the Blue Apron uses it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first did it, I go, maybe I should just cook it a little bit. Then I was eating it. I'm like, so glad I didn't cook this. It's nice and raw.
But I would agree that when people don't like the flavor of something, immediately they're like, this thing is vile and everyone else is crazy.
Right.
For example, I don't like a melon of any kind, but I'm jealous of people who like it. I think the texture looks great on a watermelon. Everyone seems very pleased and happy.
We're really getting into real, August is real watermelon, corn, and cantaloupe time of the year. And I'm going to head down to Maryland and make sure I get the fresh stuff.
Get the real deal.
Yeah, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to go.
The sweet corn.
I'll sit there and make small talk with Amish and say, let me bring that shit in. Good. Have some of your barefoot kids run it out to my trunk. I don't know why. None of those kids don't wear long pants. They don't wear short pants. They wear long pants, work shirt, no shoes whatsoever. But it is funny. Now, we get into this about condiments, and I think ketchup keeps people from enjoying food and the actual taste of the food. And I say the same thing about hot sauce. Ketchup people who feel like this is why some men stop their adulthood by putting ketchup on steaks.
Right.
Well, if you're not, that's ridiculous, right? So why would you cover the taste of a hamburger with it as well? You end up tasting a ketchup. It's such a strong, sugary, sugar-based. There's just sugar in it that you're not getting it. So I point that out to people. But unlike Chris, I don't want to have ketchup eaters rounded up and taken off the camps. We saw that before World War II.
Yeah. Is that what you want, Chris?
Well, I call them ghettos. But yeah, we could put them there.
Well, that's not what the term ghetto means. Now you've turned us into Nazis.
Oh, Jesus.
No one ever called the Japanese camps ghettos.
I thought they did.
That was the Jews in Germany.
That was a mistake.
It wasn't a mistake. The real you came through quickly.
Now we can see.
I'm not a Nazi.
The fact that you even have to say that. Only Nazis have said it. No non-Nazi has ever said, I'm not a Nazi.
It's never had to come up for anyone else.
Why Spencer outside of my...
He's waiting for a guest.
There?
Yes.
Okay. Who's coming in?
Julie Klausner.
Oh, Best Show.
Yes,
right?
She's very good friends with Tom Sharpling of The Best Show.
I got bad news for everybody, and including Tom Sharpling.
Okay.
All right. Do you remember who we and Sharpling want to be best friends with? Chris Gethard.
Yes.
So we've all said, how do we make Chris Gethard our best friend? Chris Gethard announced the other day who his best friend was on the Unmasked. And it was not us, and it was not Tom Sharpling.
No.
It was Saturday Night Live's Bobby Moynihan.
Yeah.
And that was like a sharp stick in my side.
Yeah, because then in that moment, you're like, you feel the jealousy, but then you're also like, any room for a third in this Bobby Moynihan, Chris Gethard friendship?
I know that I've blown my Chris Gethard friendship very well because, so I'm meeting the whole cast before we get at the Unmasked. And I'm going to throw it one at a time. And I get to Gethard and I go, and you are, and then he goes like this. You have met me many times, and I've been on your show. And I saw that he was having a Chris Gethard weird moment, that maybe he had said to the cast, like, I know this guy, and he's a good guy, we're going to have fun. And then, but the way that he said it, and like, because the response is, like, come here, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're both supposed to do. So, and I go, and you are, and you've met me many times. I've been on your show. I met you on the street before. We've talked. So you and I were on an airplane together. And like, I immediately went, okay, I've blown it. Sharpling wins Gethard.
Yeah.
Then I found out the good news. None of us get Gethard.
No. None of us do.
Bobby Moynihan does. You got to make sure you see this movie, too, that these guys are in. When does it roll out everywhere, Chris?
It comes out in New York City Friday, and it rolls out across the country throughout August.
Let's make sure that we play The Unmasked in August, because I'd love for some people to see it first. I know you're going to like it, Gail. Chris, you probably won't like it. There's no Pokemon in it at all.
God damn it.
You're off the VR thing too, right? You're not doing virtual reality anymore?
I need more content. Maybe augmented reality is what I have to get into.
I know. Get into it.
That picture you sent where your dog looked like she had almost treated a Pokemon.
Yeah.
That
There's a picture of Birdie, and she like almost looks proud that she has like caught a Spearow.
Look.
Oh, it's a Spearow.
She's like looking back like, isn't this great?
This is great. It's a Spearow, guys.
See, I don't think I like knowing, because it's almost like otherworldly, like other dimensions, knowing that a Pokemon can be somewhere, but I can't see it.
I know.
What was that movie years ago that if you put on the glasses, you could see that?
They Live.
Was that called They Live?
With Roddy Piper?
For some reason, I always call it Hell Comes to Frogtown.
That's the other one.
I know.
Which is where he had to repopulate the planet. He was the last man.
It's not a better movie.
I don't think I know that one.
It's not a better movie than They Live, but it's a better title. But They Live may be the best B movie of all time.
It's incredibly fun and entertaining.
It's fun, and it's also really smart. You know what I mean? It's subversive. It's incredibly subversive to an audience that would watch that kind of thing. I kind of feel like I want to put the glasses on when I'm watching the Democratic and Republican conventions.
Obey.
Yeah.
Consume.
Borrow.
Yeah. I was obsessed with that movie when I was a little kid. The only reason I initially watched it because it was Roddy Piper.
Of course. That's how everyone gets in.
Okay, I just got thanked in a mass thank you from the whole gang. But Mark Norman, they use this is a very smart and funny of the Bonfire. They use a Mark Norman only soundboard. So while they're doing their show, they could just right? And then Mark Norman was there last night, hiding in the back as a soundboard. And it was fucking hysterical and fast, and he was just slaying. And his voice would just come out of the darkness, just fucking so quick. And then my favorite thing that he said, I was making fun of the fact that I go, hey, 10 more references and we break a new record, because they're just constantly referencing movies. And then Mark Norman just goes, it's modern comedy, Ron. It's modern comedy. I'll have to tell Dennis Miller that you were so far ahead of your time. But that thing was so goddamn funny with him doing that all night. Just break your face funny. I was just looking at people just dying all night long. Are you too cold in here?
I am a little
let's
cold.
warm it up before we bring in our guests.
I know. The ladies always get cold.
I know. Well, you guys are right in the way of that. I mean, the design of this room, like if it came in back there, it would be fantastic.
That'd make much more sense.
But like right here is just like blast.
And you're
of
probably
cold.
hot, right?
Yeah, I'd
so
always hot in this
Opie
corner.
never warms up during his show, or if he does, then no one gets any air at all. Because it's that way for you, and you never realize. Particularly when we have women coming in. Women do not have the body fat or body hair.
I don't know what it is. Because I thought women have more body fat than men, just like naturally. You know, we get the curves.
I thought that was the reason that you couldn't be Navy SEALs.
Of that, yeah. But we float, so we got that going.
And instead of that Demi Moore film where she became, was it a Navy SEAL?
SEAL, G.I. Jane.
Yeah, G.I. Jane.
Yeah, but a SEAL isn't a GI, right? That's Army.
I think SEALs, yeah. GI's a Army and SEAL's a Marine.
Well, no. SEAL is not a Marine. A SEAL is a SEAL. So you have to go through the Navy. But
Yeah.
the Marines are part of the Navy. But a SEAL is a SEAL. It's not necessarily
part of
the Marine Corps. I mean, it may be overall, but I don't think they're like, hey, we want you to be with the Marines.
I think
over here.
maybe they just called it G.I. Jane, even though she wasn't.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't know if that thing was, but that was her famous line of "suck my dick."
Yeah.
Which I think wouldn't have been better if she would have said "suck my cunt."
I don't know. As a woman, I say suck my dick or suck my cock still.
Still?
Yeah.
All right.
I still say it.
Look, we're in a gender fluid time. A lot of times, Vito will say to me, I ask him to do something, he'll like, eat me. I'm like, first of all, that doesn't even make sense.
Maybe what we all need to be saying, take the genitals out of the equation and just say, eat my ass. And that's what we're asking.
How's my
people
ass
to do.
taste?
That's only if you're beating somebody and something.
Yeah, you already have to have succeeded. They have to already be in the process of eating your ass.
Why don't we just say perform oral to people? Perform
Oral me. Why don't you oral me?
Well, A, we don't have the time. I don't know why this is coming up right now. And we're at work. What? They're now saying that Trump was talking to Kasich about whether he wanted to be VP. I can't understand the news.
I don't know what it's saying.
Hey, this is also weird when I thought Donald Trump said that his dad was his best friend. I don't think that a family member should ever say that about another family member.
You know, I've heard a lot of girls say it about their mothers or mothers say it about their daughters. I feel like I hear that a lot. My mom's my best friend.
Right, but you still have room to have a
Version
best
of a woman,
friend.
by the way. My mom's my best friend.
That is how they talk.
Have you ever noticed that?
And then ladies love to go shopping. I don't know what it is,
They
guys. They just shop.
Get their hair did. Ah, ladies.
Get their hair did. But it feels like you're giving up a position. You know what I mean? It's like saying my dog is my cat. You know what I mean? Like you can have you have room. No one says, oh, that person has a best friend. I guess they don't like their mom. You know what I mean? Like your mom's not going to get mad if you say somebody's your best friend.
I also have friends who do the opposite, where they call their friends chosen family.
Yeah, that's become
hashtag chosen family.
Yeah, a newer thing. Most of the time, the thing is, it isn't true because you can always dump your friend. But even if you say, I'm never talking to my mom again, she's still your mom.
Yes.
You can't get out of it.
You cannot.
Where if you don't talk to your friend anymore, they're not still your friend.
Right. It's over.
A family, unfortunately, is something that happens to you.
Yeah.
You know, like any disease, you can't get out of it, even if you reject it and don't want it. You know, you can't say, I don't have diabetes.
Yes. There's always room for new friends. You can move friends out, move other friends
Here's
in.
an interesting thing, though. There's always room for new family, too. And you can't get out of that.
True.
If your brother, who you haven't talked to, let's say, in 15 years, is raising a kid by himself, and then your brother dies, you're like, I've never met this kid, but I guess you guys send him here, and I guess I'll raise him. You know what I mean? Like, anyone who doesn't do that is like a bad person.
Yeah.
Even though it's a weird thing that you're connected. But if someone says, hey, you know how you don't like your brother? Well, your nephew needs a kidney. You're like, fuck, okay, I'll give it to him. But I'm still not talking to my brother. You know what I mean? Like, you just do stuff like that. Friendship doesn't have any of those kind of rules.
But people who put that on friends, I think that is where I really draw the line. When people treat their friendships like their family, and you're like, look, I've already got this family. This should be fun. This should be a thing that we enjoy doing.
There should be no expectation out of friendship.
That's how I have always been, and I've lost a couple of friends over it.
Well,
they were like,
I'm willing to say you didn't lose friends.
Good point. I lost family.
No. Look, you don't have to fucking help a friend move. You don't. But you do have to help your family. That's the fucking problem. And that's why we all hate family so much.
And when you start doing that to
Don't
people.
Give me a thumbs up, Chris. Do the intro.
Julie Klausner is coming in studio. Difficult People. Season 2 is airing now on Hulu. New episodes are released every Tuesday, and the entire first season is available now on Hulu.com. And on Twitter, it's at Julie Klausner.
All right, at Julie Klausner. One more time about the show.
Difficult People is the show, and Season 2 is airing now on Hulu. New episodes are released every Tuesday, and the entire first season is available now on Hulu as well.
Let's bring her in, Julie Klausner.
Julie Klausner is in studio with us. Difficult People Season 2 is airing now on Hulu. New episodes are released every Tuesday, and the entire first season is available now on Hulu.
You know what I love? Julie looks 100% summer.
Oh,
you just look summery in New York.
I love that because as a redhead, summer is a big challenge for me. So I've discovered that I go to the island of Neutrogena and I tan myself, and now I look like I'm a reasonable person who leaves her apartment.
That's
I feel like
smart.
I should probably do this.
You run pale too, right?
I'm very pale, yeah.
You and I have a similar complexion, but this is like all fake tanner, and I find people are less concerned about me when I put it on my skin.
Are you okay? Are you getting enough sun?
You know, I've always worked with people here in New York because I was in Florida before where everybody was in the sun constantly. Chris, you react in an immediate burn.
It doesn't tan, it just burns.
Oh, yeah. We're in a good, this is like we're in a nice pale space here.
Yeah.
This is nice.
When Eastside Dave worked with me, he had red hair, and he and I went to a diner and came back, and he almost had to go to the hospital. That's how bad his burn was within a 40-foot walk.
Yeah, sun poisoning is what they call it. That's when your skin is not just red, but it gets like a little raised, like one of those maps that would have like the, what was it, an isthmus?
Yeah.
I don't remember geography.
An isthmus, yeah. That's what it was.
But you know those like plastic maps that they would have in certain areas where that's exactly what sun poisoning looks like on my arm.
I used to love those globes when I was a kid. I literally would feel those globes up.
Me too. And I loved the saturation of the color, like that map that the teacher pulled down in front of the chalkboard always had these like really vibrant blues and greens and, you know, that kind of thing.
It was one of the few times in school when I was little that I would lean forward whenever a map would come out. And then I was
obsessed. Lean in.
Yeah, I was obsessed. I was like, with any kind of changing boundaries. Like, this is what Germany looked like before the war. This is what they look like after the war.
I don't
Why now?
I don't want to make this a total gender thing, but I feel like little boys are obsessed with maps. Like little boys get very...
My dad loves maps.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing, and this is what Google has ruined for us. My favorite thing about a vacation would be to go through maps And my dad had done that. I used to think that he was insane. And then I remember calling the kids and going like this, kids, here's where we're going to be the first day.
And you see their eyes glaze over immediately.
Yeah.
You could see, like, if you were going to look into their heads, it would be like a monkey washing a cat or like...
Well, that's the only part of a family vacation that has any amount of fun to it, is planning it. Living it is a goddamn nightmare.
Now, Google Maps has changed that completely, but it is also, I can't even remember that time that was even back when you used to, what was it, like you printed it out on like MapQuest?
No, you didn't print it. Oh, you mean when you're getting directions?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the gas station maps.
No, I'm like, even that seems barbaric. And that was,
It was
like
just sad. It was like an inkjet printer, and sometimes like the
and then
words
you're like,
were a little broken up, and it's like,
did we just go 2.3 miles? I don't know.
wants to hold that.
Yeah. And the other part of it is that's sad because you find out you're more racist than you thought. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a neighborhood. Kiddos, I don't want to say anything. And I always tell you that we're all the same, but I got to get back on the highway immediately.
Roll them up.
Yeah. Everybody roll up. Just don't look ahead. You're just like,
to you, do you have memories of this happening in the car, and now it's all coming into focus for you, Gail?
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
But the thing is, that was progressive. I had progressed before the generation before me, and then we move on. This is how progress worked.
I don't know. Sometimes it's a little bit of a yo-yo.
Do you think?
Sometimes the generation that you give birth to is like a lot more racist.
Yeah. These kids now, though, and I always say this, I think it works against the betterment of the city that they'll get off the subway anywhere and get an apartment there. And before you know it, they change the neighborhood so much that it sucks.
You mean gentrification or the other way?
Yeah, gentrification, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a subway that goes there, that's enough for me to make this into a yuppie kind of, got it. Yeah.
And I don't think they mean to. It's just when they start to go there and they're young and then one hip bar opens up and before you know it, the people who have lived there for generations are like, wait a minute, am I in a mall?
Why does my coffee cost $12?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first wave is accidental.
Yes, and it's
they
all...
don't mean to.
Yeah, the first wave, those young people are very progressive where they're like, hey, this is a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we're just
I like rice and beans. Hey, man, we're all the same.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, your coffee's $12.
Yeah.
It happens overnight. Julie Klausner is in studio with us. Difficult People Season 2 is airing now on Hulu. And the new season is so great.
Thank you.
It's really fun.
I'm really proud of it. I'm really, I'm really happy about it. I hope everybody gets to see it.
Were you guys friends for a while before?
Me and Billy?
Yeah.
Billy and I met years ago because we were both fans of each other's work online, and I wrote him like a fan email, and I said, your Man on the Street videos are so brilliant, and I would love to work with you one day. And we got coffee, and we thought, well, what show would we pitch if we pitched a show? And then it kind of dissolved, like a lot of, well-meaning plans do. And then he got a show on, it was on Fuse at the time, called Billy on the Street. He called me and asked me if I would write for it, and I did, and we kind of got to know each other and became friends over the course of working together on his show.
So this was a slow progression. It's always interesting in show business where people think, if I take a writing job, does that keep me from doing my thing? But it actually led.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I think and he knew me as a writer as well as a performer.
Right.
But I remember he was also staffing up that show really quickly. And he likes to say I was one of the first people he called after his cocaine dealer. Just kidding. And said, we like the same things. We knew we had the same sensibility, and we both sort of felt a little bit like outsiders, whether or not that was the case. And so we connected over that pretty quickly. And then, it lent itself to other opportunities. Yeah.
The thing about Billy is he's one of those people who's so funny. And then you're like, boy, would I like him if I met him? Would that work?
Would he yell at me?
I will say that he's very, I cannot speak to the former. I don't know what your taste is, but I will say that he's very different than Billy on the Street.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different Billies, and that is certainly not what he's like all the time.
We had him on the show once, and he was very, very sweet, but I remember thinking, I hope this goes well. But also, I felt the same way about a woman that I love. I know you work with Joan Rivers, who...
Oh, bless her heart.
Meeting her and hanging out with her was like...
When I first met her, I was like, oh, it's my Jewish aunt. It's Aunt Joan. Like, right away, I felt so comfortable with her. And, like, she was one of my... like I said, like one of my Jewish aunts. I mean, she was so warm and she liked who she liked. I mean, I remember reading something about her when she passed where someone said she wasn't exclusionary, she was clannish. She when you were in the family, you were in the family.
Right.
And I was very lucky to feel included, and as was Billy, because he had a relationship with her as well, and she was just the best. Very complicated, interesting person, and not perfect, but really brilliant and
incredibly funny.
Total pioneer. So funny.
Yeah.
So funny. As funny, like breathing air. I mean, she just was.
Yeah, that kind of funny, and I don't know how many people you could say at the end of her life was funnier than she was 10 years before, 20 years before. I mean,
because she just stopped. She didn't give a shit. I mean, what does she have to lose? She was just herself, and take it or leave it. And also, how could things get worse? You know what? My husband killed himself. I've gone through all this stuff. I had my dream, and then it was taken away from me. And you know, what are you going to do?
I felt the same way. I always thought that she was warm. I always thought that she was sweet. But then I thought, if I ever cross any single line, I'll be pummeled. Like there was a real respect that this woman could, and that's a real New York.
Yeah.
She could.
Yeah.
I love you saying that she had that thing about being called legendary or holding the door open.
Never.
And she did not want that.
No.
I love that.
It was basically like speaking about someone in the past tense.
Yeah,
I mean,
she was still working.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we were just saying that about Gary Marshall, is that it's that same thing of just like continuing to have that level of passion, but just like work as hard as if you had just started. Like that's really crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be in show business if you didn't completely love it, because it's so damn hard that you may as well, you know, do something that you really want, because you're probably going to fail anyway. So you give 1,000% because you're not doing it just to support a family necessarily.
I think the great thing about it, though, is that if you're in show business with all that stuff, the stories are so damn good.
Mm-hmm.
So Joan, if you would talk to Joan or Gary Marshall, most of their funniest stories were about failures and disappointments. And these were both people in their 80s that would sit down and tell these stories that could kill you. Just literally have you gasping for breath over shitty things that happened to them.
Yeah, it's hardship. And that's what created their, you know, I think there's a big part, not to be like overly, thinky about it, but I think that a big part of comedy is taking what is incredibly painful and alchemizing it into something that's extremely funny. Just by talking about it out loud, it becomes funny, because at least you're talking about it and not just holding it.
Well, your career, and I always think, because you get to do so many things, is always the best kind of fun to have, right?
It is, you know what it is? It's like you get to do whatever you want when you're not making money at it, because why not?
Right.
So in one way, someone says, well, why don't you just stick with one thing? And it's like, well, because it's not really getting me anywhere. So I may as well just try something new that seems fun, because I'm not supporting myself with it and I'm not successful at it. So en route to my dream gig, which is what I have now, which is having a show that I get to write and be in, and I've tried a lot of different things on the way. And as far as like, you know, why don't you stick to it? It's like, well, if you paid me to, I certainly would.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to try a lot of things, and you have to keep it interesting and fun for you, because otherwise, what's the point? It's not easy.
Right. And it is true that almost one of the worst things that could happen to you is satisfaction. You know what I mean? Like the funniest thing about Joan is finding out how much money she actually had. Because I would see her come in here scraping and working like 12-hour days of promotion, right? And I'm like, man, she's really at it. And then when I heard how much money she had, I mean, she wasn't just rich.
Like, she could easily have coasted for.
That's not who she was. Though. She could never have coasted.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be able. She would have lost her mind. I mean, that's just not who she was.
My favorite thing about Joan, too, was that I had asked her about, and it was, very much towards the end about, jokes and stuff. And she reaches into her purse and just pulls out napkins from that day.
That she wrote.
Stuff that she had just been writing stuff down. Yeah. I thought it was amazing.
That's just who she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was amazing. Hardest working person. And I mean, there'll be no one else like her.
Yeah. What was your early, you said your show business dreams. When did that hit you that you wanted to
You know, I always loved comedy, and I always loved writing and performing, but it wasn't until I guess I interned on Strangers with Candy around the year 2000 when I was like, I guess my senior year of college. And I just remember seeing Amy Sedaris and Paul Danilo and Stephen Colbert make this show that was so weird and funny and crazy, and that they got to be in and write. And I just thought that this is it.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
And that show is like one of the best of all time.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
So
and the people who love it, and it's not for everyone. And thank God.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think that's got to be a hard thing as an entertainer when you have something that is just, the quality is just insane and it's hilarious, and you have to accept that it's not going to be for everybody.
Sure.
That's always
Yeah,
be
listen, I'm just always happy it's for anybody. That's always what I'm surprised about.
But it's like a good band. You know what I mean? Like most bands that are really interesting, you try to turn on some people to it, and they're like, no, I could never listen to this.
Yeah.
And that's far more interesting of a band than bands that have had
the
hits.
Eagles.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate the Eagles.
Do you really? The Eagles documentary
that is the
changed
best.
it.
That is the real life Spinal Tap. If anybody wants to see Spinal Tap as not a comedy, but like a real thing, boy, that Eagles doc, that'll do it.
Well, you said it was just like they're just broier than you would ever have.
Broier, fratty.
Yeah.
They really took rock and roll and fused it with like jock fratty shit boy culture in a way that like the 60s, gave birth to it. They kind of like paved the way, but no, that whole California fratty, like douchebag, the worst.
But what is so hilarious is that's their personality, and then they write those really sweet,
like very chill vibes.
Like they have respect for the girl.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. That's exactly enough peyote. You'll think anything.
But this is a rock band that actually had a thing on the door that said "No freaks," like for their party. Why else?
Why are you in a rock band?
Right.
Like work at a bank.
Yeah. It's like being a woman comic and having no gays outside of your dressing room. It just, you forget how this is supposed to happen.
Know your audience.
But you ever, Documentary Now did a parody of that.
Oh, they did.
Didn't even come close to how
the Blue Jean Committee thing.
Yeah. Did not even come close to how cringy fantastic that Eagles documentary is. Mm-hmm. You can't parody something.
No, it's too
that's far out there.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more.
What's the music scene? Because Gail and I do a show called GPS about those music scenes that have taken place of all time. Where's the one that you think that you could have?
Gosh, like L.A. in the early 70s, late 60s. Yeah, no question.
That's a perfect one.
Psychedelic, like sort of when things started like deviating from the narrative, and that the narrative had already become a little like, it was counterculture, but it was a little rote at that point.
Right. Not so much San Francisco, where it was still kind of dirty and bad acid.
Yeah.
I mean, the acid has to be perfected before I want to come. Don't want to end up with any strychnine.
Take another pass at it.
Don't want that at all.
Well, wasn't there a point where, like, in California, all you could get was acid or speed? Like, there wasn't any pot? That's not good. It's like, okay, let's see what happens when people only take these drugs who want to take drugs. Nothing good.
I think that they should really come out with an age where, like, to say you can't do speed past this age. I get it if you're a teenager and you want to be completely amped up, but and the weird thing about speed is it was a mom drug when I was a kid.
To keep
Mother's
keep
little
women
helper.
thin.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah, so people would steal this speed from their mom, and you would do one Black Beauty, and you'd just be like 24 hours. You just bite the inside of your mouth, and your hand is going. You're like, what are these moms doing?
Well, now we have meth, so
meth is
fun. Can we all agree?
Yeah, that was one of the Hitler drugs. Hitler came up with meth.
So that those assholes trekking through the sno, their feet would like freeze off and they wouldn't feel it because they wouldn't care. They'd be on the way to Poland.
You're just remembering shit that Hitler says over and over. Where's the masturbation? Where's the masturbation?
Yeah.
It's just like, chill, dude.
Yeah, all of a sudden your boots are perfectly comfortable.
Yeah. The drug problem for Elvis started when he was in the United States Army. They gave him speed.
Same kind of speed?
Yeah, I think he was probably doing Christmas trees or something along those lines, of little green and white dye pills, so guys wouldn't fall asleep on guard duty and shit.
Not like the stuff they give the fighter pilots that makes them not need sleep? Or
That's
is it
a
similar?
weird thing too, to think that fighter pilots would speed. But then all baseball players have done it since, like Willie Mays' time.
Really?
They would call it greenies and it was the same kind of stuff, but Willie Mays actually had a juice that he would keep in his locker. I don't know what was in it or what was in this contraction. It was some kind of crazy shit.
Willie juice.
Yeah.
I mean, between fighter pilots and baseball players, same thing. You could just have chewing gum. Chewing gum works just as well.
Wow. That's a PSA.
They were given, that's what they always kept chewing gum in
Guys,
fighter pilots.
have you heard of Dentine? It works just as good.
But you know why they were chewing gum is because they were speeding.
Okay,
they didn't want
there
to chew
you
their
go.
tongue off.
That's what it is.
Yeah, because a lot of times, even now, a pilot just break up and goes, "Hey, everybody, we're going to be flying at 18." I remember back when I was in high school, there was this girl there. I mean, it wasn't so much a girl; she was a friend of mine, but we kind of liked each other. There's nothing worse than to be that fucking speedy or even coked up with someone, and it's your turn to listen to their story.
They just launch into a conversation.
To feign patience.
They're just rambling backwards.
Or it's like, even worse, like they'll tell you about like an article that they read like a few months before, and they're like, but you have to listen to this. And
This
you're
sounds like
oh,
any
no.
conversation.
Yeah.
Drugs aside.
Yeah, and then they always end up, but you remind me of that dude. Okay, all right, we're a little
All
high.
right, you're not. This
Yeah.
has nothing to do with me. It's cute that you think it has to, but
We were talking about this too before you got here, but since you do the kind of buddy comedy, the two friends, what would you say is the all-time best of buddy relationships, TV, those kind of connections?
I mean, I love Ab Fab. I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of what Billy and I do is sort of grounded in that world, where it's sort of the two of those wackadoos against the world around them being sort of snotty.
That's brilliant. I hadn't picked up on that.
It does have Ab Fab vibes.
Yeah, so you did that from like a starting point, right?
I mean, it was just such an intrinsic influence because I just watched those and loved them. And I mean, that was definitely there. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, with Gary Marshall, we were talking about it in his book, he was like saying Laverne and Shirley couldn't even stand to look at each other.
Oh, really?
That's so shocking to me because I would have assumed.
My favorite thing, he says they counted words to see that they got the same exact. So the writers had to come back and say, all right, right now it's 158 to 143. Can we move some of these lines over?
Yeah,
Craziness.
That's a great environment for creativity.
Yeah.
I've always liked Mary Tyler Moore and Rhoda. I always loved that
Greatest.
friendship.
Yep.
Because I feel like most women are like, which type am I? And then you're like, oh, I need that type in my life.
But did you know that when like Rhoda got her own show, she got prettier? She got to wear better clothes.
did.
She got to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to keep her in like sweats and stuff next to Mary. Same thing happened on Lucy, where her neighbor wasn't allowed to lose weight and had to stay frumpy to make Lucy work. All these things, show business, they're so weird.
Like, yeah, I have a feeling men didn't have the same things in their contract.
No, I don't
Right. You're not allowed to go to the gym.
Okay.
That, and I think also the Golden Girls, when I was a kid.
You love them?
I loved them. I loved their friendship. And I think it actually was like, I had this thing where I was like, I can't wait to be old and have three best friends.
yeah.
Like, I thought that, like, it made it seem fun.
You were already living in Florida.
I know.
That environment was
I was-
around you constantly.
No, those were really sweet relationships and very real characters.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I
agree.
adored that show.
Is that where you got to go first, too, when you're writing something like that? You got to find that base of friendship before you start worrying about jokes?
I don't think Oh, you mean like just not in terms of references,
Yeah.
but just. Yeah, I mean they have to be real people. But I think just the fact that it was quasi autobiographical made that part easy because I'm a real person and so is Billy, and so I knew what I wanted to do with it going into it, and I knew that there were parts of it that were going to need to be sweet, and the friendship, because we love each other, we get away with murder.
Right.
That's always there.
But I think it's because you're both fully committed at a certain age, right, to this thing. And it's always amazing to me, even when I meet young comics that come through. It's a 24-hour-a-day gig now.
Oh yeah,
You know?
with email and text and you're always working.
Yeah, it's constant promotion, constant Snapchatting. Well, congratulations with it. First of all, it's
Thank
always
you.
great to get a season 2 these days, right?
It
Just to
certainly
keep
is.
it going is always fantastic.
I'm very proud of the second season. I think it's above and beyond the first.
Difficult People Season 2 is airing now on Hulu. New episodes are released every Tuesday. And the entire first season is available now on Hulu. And follow Julie on Twitter at Julie Klausner.
Thank you, guys.
So great to see you.
Likewise.
We'll see you next time. Happy anniversary to the Bonfire from the Bennington Show. 1 year.
Happy anniversary!
Happy anniversary!
I was thinking that we all chip in and get them something nice.
Like some flowers, or?
I was thinking cars.
Oh.
If we got each of them an old classic Corvette convertible.
I mean, how much is this going to be a person?
Well, it's going to be, tough, but we're going to cut it 4 ways. And if I can get Spencer as part of it, that'll help out too. It'll probably cost us less than $20,000 a piece.
Oh, God. Don't have it.
I mean, I definitely want to get them something.
I got a guy who gives financing. And by the way, I mean, we're going cheap on this. These are old. They're actually fixer-uppers. They got to do a little work on these cars. All right, what an uncomfortable fucking moment. I go in to take a piss. I'm next to Dan and Teddy Spaghetti, right? So I'm like, I guess we're all the piss buddies, right? Dan says, and you know how loud his voice is, you can call us the P Musketeers. And then he says, oh, God, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to do that. And I go, no, it works, Dan. This will be the name of our band. I'm saying that.
Musketeers.
First of all, I'm saying that because I want to get into a band with Teddy, who's a fucking genius.
Definitely.
Instead, Dan turns it all into P-Talk. Seriously, how awkward can a person get? And did he just invent that line? Or does he say P Musketeers every time he goes to the men's room?
I mean, he rattled that off quickly, it seems.
Yeah.
You think he had that in the pocket, waiting for 3 best friends to be peeing all at once?
Either that, I think he says it if there's only 2 people. I think he says it if there's 8.
Like, if there's 2, he's like, I wish we had another person in here, because then we could be the P Musketeers.
He's awkward, okay? Oh, God. Here he's walking this way.
Oh.
The member of the P Musketeers is coming here this way. Look how seriously, come on in. Look how seriously he takes coming inside. Hey, the P Musketeers are back together.
Well, two of us. I had a feeling you were going to talk about this, so I made sure to stop doing work and listen to the show.
Now, you immediately regretted your line.
I believe what I actually said, Ron. You did misquote me. It was, I'm sorry, I hate myself.
My fault. I should have said that. But that, I'm sorry, I hate myself, came a millisecond after P Musketeers. I mean, it couldn't even. And then the 2 of us tried to make you feel better about it.
I needed some reinforcement. I've been, self-conscious lately. That
why?
Well, you throw jokes out sometimes, and maybe you know this, but you throw stuff out sometimes, and it doesn't work, and you feel ashamed.
I never have that. Every joke I say lands beautifully. It's
pretty phenomenal.
But it was, the situation probably like now maybe I'm thinking, oh man, they're like, this guy's cracking jokes at the urinal. He's so weird. And I was like,
look, here's what you got to do when you want a joke to land, right? You've got to picture that last word going off the side of the horse, moving, coming down, Nadia Comaneci, hands up in the air and just stand there. You have to believe it if anyone else is going to believe it.
I know I believe it, but that's not... I suppose
apologized and said you hate it yourself.
Yeah.
And then he says like this, I should have to drink everyone's piss.
What? You offered that?
When you tell a bad joke, there's got to be some punishment, dude. You make everyone in the room uncomfortable in the restroom and at the office. It's really...
Why would anyone apologize for P Musketeers?
I kind of like it, to be honest.
Gail, you think that's good?
I think it's funny. I would have laughed.
I would say this is the best dad joke I've ever heard. And, it rhymes with 3. It's quick. You did it very quickly, but you got to believe in yourself.
I will say, I did make up for a lot, I think, with the fact that I came out with it really fast.
Yes. Yeah. And before, you say it didn't land. Before we could even let it sink in, you were apologizing. And then we're saying, no. that might be the name of our band. And then I look at Teddy like, are we going to start a band?
And then I sprinted to wash my hands.
Yeah.
And then I was like, God, I hope Ron, takes a couple seconds here.
See, that kind of uncomfortability, I can't even relate to. I can't
You've
relate
never felt
to it.
that awkward in your life.
I'm sure I had, but I don't know enough to feel as comfortable with that awkwardness.
But in an office restroom context, it's...
You're there with two buddies.
Teddy's a really cool guy, too. So
Everybody loves Teddy. He would probably easily win MVP, most popular guy around here. You know?
MPP?
Well, I'm not doing that. I'm saying that he'd be the most valuable player of the... Say you're...
He's back to the PP.
You're back to doing that nerd thing.
I should have stuck with P. Musketeers.
Yeah. But everybody loves him. And then he's one of those guys that he worries about other people's feelings. He's not like any of us.
Right.
Like if somebody had a problem, Teddy'd be like, oh my God, is there anything I could do to help? And mean it.
Sure.
And I always say like this, if you need anything, call Chris.
He'll take
Chris
care
is
of it.
my guy. I had to try to tell somebody to call Chris when they tried to go around him last night. I'm like, no. Chris takes care of everything for me.
Nice.
Knowing that he doesn't even answer the fucking phone. Which I've heard from quite a few people.
Really?
Yes.
I think it's that this reception in this building. I maybe try to call you like once a morning.
Dude, I got a call back from
gotta
Joe
work
List
on it.
that said they have no record of you trying to book his check.
Really?
Yes, he went home and checked, being like, hey, Bennington show is trying to get you on. And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's very odd.
I will say Chris never answers my calls, so...
How often do you call
You
me?
have a reputation for this, though, Chris.
When have I called you Chris? This is a pattern.
Listen, Pissy.
Why don't you know? See?
Yeah.
No.
Interact with him the way you would the biggest star.
Okay.
And then...
And please tell me you wouldn't call them pissy.
If you interact with Dan the way you would the biggest star, then it's going to be easy for you when you do act that way with the biggest star.
Okay. All right. Dan, I apologize for not calling. Or not
calling back.
Calling back.
You don't even
At
know what
least.
you're
I'm not even
apologizing
asking
for.
you to call. Just
You know
call
what?
back.
This came up on our show the other day. I forgot who said it. Oh, it was Jamie Lissau, who said a forced apology is not an apology. And that's fucking brilliant. And absolutely true. It actually stayed with me because when people apologize, it's to just end the
Right.
thing, but
To
they don't
squash it,
mean
but
it.
they don't.
An apology would be like me saying, hey, Dan, I should have tagged your joke. Maybe both, with me being there for you,
I didn't really give you much time.
No,
to
if
do
I
that,
just
so-
started to wave my dick around like it was a sword and,
Yeah.
try
Oh
to
God,
get-
that would have saved me. That would have really been a nice thing for you to do.
Or I'd yell, I'm Michelangelo, or whatever I had to fucking do. I don't know who the Three Musketeers are.
I don't know their names.
I might have
but-
got them mixed up with the Turtles.
No, there's definitely. I don't think there's a Michelangelo or Michelangelo.
Then I'm the dick, and I fucking free my pal.
See,
I could have been there for you, Dan, and but that's a real apology. Not, Ron caught me in 3 lines. Let me fake something to Dan.
Yeah. Well, I remember getting any calls from you, Dan, but from the bottom of my
now
heart.
you're gone from the apology.
Okay,
When you're yelling,
Suddenly I'm on trial here,
Right.
Chris.
Okay.
Dan's right.
I'm going to bring up the piss thing
Yeah,
again.
I mean,
Bring it up. I'm proud of it now.
lock him up. Lock him up. Lock him up. And yelling no means you're not going with the bit. You should be like, you should have your hands out like, oh, here I am, I'm getting locked up again.
Lock me up.
You still enjoying the convention?
Oh God, yeah.
And you switched over, you're a Trump voter now?
It really took a lot, but once I saw Ben Carson discussing how Lucifer plays into all this, I decided, it's time. I was a Bernie guy. You guys might remember that. But yeah, this has really been a great sell.
and this might be like a little prejudice of mine, but I feel like a doctor. Okay, if a doctor says I'm religious, I'll be like, okay. Doctor's like, I believe in God. Okay. But for some reason, a doctor's saying they believe in Lucifer, in Satan. I'm just like, I don't think I could trust that doctor.
They believe in a physical Satan.
Yeah, a physical Lucifer, the dude.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I'm like having trouble thinking this guy's gonna crack my head open and operate on my brain.
My weird thing with Ben Carson is I would trust him to operate on my brain, but not to do literally anything else.
Well, I certainly wouldn't trust him to publicly speak. I mean, he's proven he's never been good at that. And they gave him what should have been the primetime spot last night, and it emptied out. I'm looking up. Trump is just landed in Cleveland, and then he is going to fly by chopper over. So tonight does he speak, or is that tomorrow?
No, I think it's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
So what does he do tonight? He walks out at the end of the vice president. Right?
Yeah, when Pence is closing, and then he walks out.
I think he's going to use a bicycle tonight as his entrance music.
So he will have appeared every night of the convention.
Yeah, and that's apparently I read somewhere that's something no one's ever really done. You're supposed to, it's like a surprise party, and then they come out at the end.
Well, Fez had said to me, he goes, "Oh man, with him there, it means when Melania was talking, we don't get to see the shots of him in the hotel room watching her talk." And I was cracking up. I'm like, I didn't even realize that was a tradition.
Well, reaction videos are very popular.
The reaction videos.
That's very strange. Why not just have a front seat? Why not just be there for it then if you're going to watch it on
He
TV?
flew back to New York while Tiffany was talking. He missed her whole speech.
Well, that's the thing. I think he doesn't like not to be in his own bed. He's got a plane. He's like, why don't I just get back to my house?
I was going to say, that's like if you went to Just for Laughs and flew back every night.
You could easily do it. You know what I mean?
If you had Trump
it's like
dollars.
an hour and a half, flight. I've only got to be there a couple hours a day. Yeah, I want to Trump this thing.
Yeah.
Just go through customs twice a day, every day. Relaxing.
It's fun.
Relaxing trip through customs.
They're like, now why are you here on business or pleasure this time?
I don't know why I took the label off the cigar, but I promise you it's not a Cuban. Sometimes they just take labels off. That's the thing. When people come back, they're like, you have anything? These cigars? Yeah, I bought them in the U.S. Where are all the labels? I don't know. Must have wanted to take them off. I like to take the labels off before I put them in the
That's gross.
On a serious note, though.
Sirius XM.
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
That is I work for those guys.
Do you? I know you're here. I wouldn't say you were.
I just kind of walked in one day and found a desk. And then Don started talking to me like I worked here.
Yeah. You and
get a paycheck.
You and Denny.
I haven't been compensated for any of this other than in soda.
If there's like a little bit of a group getting together anywhere, if Dan isn't there, Denny is. Those two work to be the guys in the hall.
Do you guys get together and compare notes of what happens every day?
Dude, Danny and I talk all day, and we couldn't be more different people, but it's a beautiful thing.
Does he talk about anything other than Top 40 radio?
Well, he was wearing a Cleveland Indians hat yesterday because of that's where the Republican convention is, so.
Yeah, that's a tie-in that even the Republicans aren't doing. Now, you wanted to say in all seriousness, and I interrupted you.
Well, I think that, I heard you on the show. I was actually listening to the whole show today.
Good.
I think that we're giving a lot of credit to Donald Trump Jr. for literally not fucking up everything as all the other speakers did. Like, yes, he looks like a normal person in a suit giving a speech.
Now, have you ever given a speech before?
I am right now.
Well, I would disagree. When you're sitting there looking in front of this, knowing that there's, 3 different, would probably be 6 or 7 different networks. It's a nerve-wracking thing. Giving a speech, and I'm not talking about the content of a speech. I don't
remember a single thing he said because,
Well, I could go through the content of his speech to go, well, that's a little. By the way, one of these things that you're making fun of, you got the benefit of, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're an MBA, and,
He's saying, I learned everything from construction workers. Your dad's Donald Trump.
Yes, you went to the Wharton School of Business also, I believe, right? Was he a graduate of that?
That's right.
Which is the most elite school. By the way, you can't just, you can't float in a place like that. I mean, he's very smart and he's done the work, but to act like he's just a knock around guy is just not true.
Right.
But the speech part of it itself, the way you deliver a speech, he did very, very well.
He was good at waving his hands at the right times and, projecting. Like, yes, I will agree, but, I feel like then CNN starts to say like, this is a huge turning point because we're literally not being treated to like utter sewage right now, you know?
I get it, but it should be pointed out. If you're going to say something is a bad speech, you have to say he delivered a good speech. And he's done that. He's 38 years old. He doesn't have a huge background in politics. He did well.
My friend's dad was sitting next to him at a restaurant like 2 months ago, and he didn't talk the whole, he was with like his wife and I guess another couple, Don Jr. And he, when the check came, slips his card, doesn't look at it, leaves without saying a word.
He never talked to anybody that he was with?
He said, reportedly, he said maybe 5 words the whole dinner. So I don't think the Trumps are like the Von Trapps, you know, they're very sad right now.
All right, wait, hold on. I got to try to put this whole statement together. They're not like the Von Trapps. They're very sad.
Correct.
Why are the Trumps sad?
Because they're probably going to be targeted for the rest of their lives, right? As racists, as
I don't think. First of all, I don't know. I think that these kids, the Trump kids, have as good as press as Obama's kids have, and they always had good press. You know, they seem like they're very nice kids.
I would say, though, that I think it's a great idea for them to do a Von Trapp song. I think that could...
I think a musical number at this point could only make things better.
You're being silly.
I actually think it would be a great idea.
You're acting like you don't think that Donald Trump has any chance of winning.
No, I do think there's a chance of him winning, and that's why, you know, if he didn't have a chance of winning, who cares? Then, you know, why would we talk about this?
Are you going to be able to live in a Donald Trump world?
I said to my mom on the phone the other day, and this was like obviously never going to happen, but I said, any state that he wins, I never want to go to again. I never want to be in the border of that state. So I really hope he doesn't win New York, because then I'm going to have to quit.
That's a much more realistic thing than saying you're going to move out of the U.S.
I'm not going to leave the U.S., but like,
these are the states I refuse to visit. You'll get none of my tourist money.
Well, when everyone brings up the Constitution, right? How many states were there when we put together the Constitution?
I seem to remember 13.
That's where we stop. Those people get to vote. Those people get to decide. And if you want to live in our country, the original 13, just follow the rules that we get you. If not, there's no wall on that border now. Swim to Mexico.
It's like when there's an expansion team.
Yeah.
You know, you don't give them the best players. You don't give the expansion team Bryce Harper.
They really are the expansion states.
Right.
Who's in that second tier? Is like the South in the second tier of like...
Yeah,
states?
I think they started to add as we went along. You got to remember, man, like Ohio was like as far west as anyone would dream of going when those came together. Even Western Pennsylvania, I think,
that's way out west,
was pretty fucking wild at the time. It should have, like the Delaware River down to the bay, people are like, okay, we can stay here. But it starts to get kind of Indian-y when we get away from this place. But by the way, you're a baseball fan, are you not, Chris?
Yes, I am.
And Vito, you are?
Yes.
Why isn't Mike Trout a national name? I think people could sit around and name 30 basketball players before they would say in baseball who Mike Trout is.
I always thought Mike Trout was a pretty big name. I mean, he's always in the MVP race. And
for people like that, but you haven't moved over to where people that are non-fans of the sport know who he is.
Maybe because he's not on the main LA team.
Again, why do you have to be that before you're well known? Ty Cobb was known by everybody in this country. He was fucking playing in the Midwest like an animal.
Well, like, I think it's like how sometimes, like, the Mets will have players that, like, won't become national names. Like, I mean, Harvey just became one, but because
it's a
we're
provincial. I don't even think Harvey is. I think it's a local game that people pay attention to their local teams and not the league. Yet when you have a star like Mike Trout, it seems like he should cross over somehow. You know, like Pete Rose was known by everybody in the country. Everybody in the country knew Showboat and Pete. I don't know if we got a baseball player like that now.
Well, I don't think there's any baseball players like selling Under Armour, you know, or
right.
who's like, there's no...
Like Mark McGwire was known by everybody.
I think Bryce Harper.
No way.
Really?
No way.
Not yet.
We could play the game on the street. and just go out and ask people, who's Bryce Harper?
I don't know who Bryce Harper is, so there you go.
Thank you. That's what you get. Somebody who isn't a fan of the game has to know who that person is for them to be a star. You know?
So then I guess the last one would be who? Jeter would probably be the last, like, world. Oh, what? Big Papi. What about Big Papi?
That would be interesting. That would be something we could play with. And again, could you say his actual name? And not Big Papi.
Yes, I can.
No, I meant to the people and have them understand, not just for you.
You mean Big Papi wasn't Manny Ramirez? Oh, God.
See
What did I just do? I'm
No.
leaving.
No, the Pete Musketeers stay together.
Okay, thanks.
I wonder if we want Denny to be part of this. What's his pee schedule? Because I get to, you know.
You guys pee together a lot.
I got to tell you, me and Teddy pee together quite a bit.
I will say that the name P Musketeers does not limit us to 3 members.
You sure?
Wasn't there a fourth Musketeer?
There was a fourth one
What
who
was his
joined.
name? Oh, Bryce Harper.
Yeah. There's Bryce Harper, Big Papi, Trout, and Jeter.
Who's your all-time favorite non-New York ball player?
Oh, God.
There you go. A guy who says he's a fan. What about for you, Vito?
Well, like mine is Pete Rose, but I didn't even get to watch him play.
You love Showboat Pete, do you?
I love Pete Rose and I love A-Rod.
Still?
I don't know what it is. When I was a little kid, I fell in love with A-Rod. And then when the steroid thing came out, I got kind of mad at him, but now I'm all about him again.
Nolan Ryan, without a doubt. Nolan Ryan. Because I was going to say Clemens, but he was a fucking Yankee. And that was it has to be Nolan Ryan.
So you're a pitcher first guy.
Love Nolan Ryan. As a kid, I was obsessed with Nolan Ryan. Loved him.
When you were a kid, he must have been in his 40s.
Yeah, he was an old man.
He had that one no-hitter, though, right? Were you around for that?
Yeah, it was. And then, but also I collected baseball cards, and there were like a bunch of, when he got 5,000 strikeouts, there was a bunch of like editions of those. So I was obsessed with collecting all of his 5,000 strikeouts.
But his win-loss record is like
Terrible.
fucking 500. Because he played for Houston for so many years.
And he played to strike dudes out. He didn't care about he wanted to strike dudes out. That was the only thing he cared about. And he was like really criticized over that because he didn't really care about the game so much, but just strikeouts.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, what is, you tell me.
Like if you strike everyone out, you'll probably
Yeah, you're
have a
going to
good
win the game. I mean, the number of games that he lost, 1-0, is ridiculous. But this whole thing that somehow you can develop a fucking sinker that's going to make... I wouldn't play that game either if I could throw heat. If I could throw heat, I'm not sitting there hoping somebody's going to hit a fucking ground ball, because a lot of ground balls get through. Not when I could just fucking dish it. Look there, we're just watching the Trump fly in on his chopper. He has to get his Trump copter out there. He can't just take a regular copter.
No, I was going to say, thank God there's an identifying logo, so we're sure.
I like that it says Trump emblazoned chopper flies over.
It's emblazoned.
It's Trump emblazoned.
Well, he'll sleep home tonight. G-Man wants to jump in on this discussion. Hey, G-Man.
How about us?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I think Vito may have said it because Brian was always switching the hole, but I think Big Papi is a household name. I'm not a baseball guy. Maybe it's because I sucked ass at it when I was a kid, so I never got into it. I know as much about baseball as PTI talks about, but I think David Ortiz with the whole Boston thing, his face is all over the media. The accent, he's kind of flashy. He's a big dude.
We could play this game tomorrow if we want. We could put the interns out on the street, have them ask 100 people. We'll give them the names and see if they can come up with who these folks are.
Or did they get a picture and then they have to say who the name is?
They'll never get
That's
it. That.
That'll be impossible.
Fucking Chris wouldn't get Big Papi if that happened.
Have you seen the new Big Papi commercial?
No.
It's Big Papi's watching some stuff, and then he's just coming up with names he could come up with for companies next season, and then he just whispers to himself, Big Papi's going to be rich.
He's the best.
Why is he saying that?
What is the advertisement for?
I just love the fact that a so-called Yankees fan said that he's the best. There's not another an actual Yankees fan.
I'm an actual Yankees
who
fan.
can give a Red Sox a simple fucking congratulations like that. And he's saying he's the best.
He's a
Why
character.
don't you just fucking move to Boston, Chris?
Fuck
Because
that.
that's where your heart is. You want lobster rolls, which, by the way, you were supposed to have for us before, and
They're
then you
coming.
never. How are they coming? It was 3 weeks ago. The guy wanted to bring them tomorrow. Now he says they're coming because he never thought of it, and he knows he can get them in 24 hours.
Well, from what I understand, Ron, there's a whole process involved in obtaining lobster rolls. You have to cast a line with some bait.
Oh, really? Really?
And Chris, maybe you didn't give them enough time.
Fucking P. Musketeers is fucking just ran through another one.
Killed over here.
Gail, can you name any current baseball player?
Is Jeter playing right now?
No.
Okay.
Nice try, though. That's the weird thing about baseball.
Yeah.
Well, nobody cares anymore. It's not. It's the least exciting sport.
They sell more tickets than anybody else. They got a bigger gate than anybody in the country.
I went to 2 Yankee games this year and it was empty. It's just like it was quite
and
depressing.
Yet the tickets are still expensive.
Well, no, that's what they make up for it, and they'd rather sell expensive tickets than allow people who can't afford like $80 tickets per person.
Why don't they sell $25 tickets and fill the fucking joint up? I mean, they know business better than me. I'm going to sell the fucking place out.
Well,
$20 ticket day.
I think it's obviously a fairly classist team. They're pretty elites. They're pretty conservative. They like, the rich.
Did you ever watch any of the stuff from the 70s? What fucking Yankee Stadium was there? It was a zoo. It was madness. And they had a giant advantage over the other teams. People were afraid to come into New York.
Well, those stadiums are only half filled, but they're still pretty much sold out because it's just people who have season tickets and don't go to games. Like
That's disgusting.
Stuff.
That's disgusting. Is that Hard Rock Johnny waiting?
That's Hard Rock, yeah.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Bring on Hard Rock Johnny.
Bring on Hard Rock Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny. It's Johnny. Did you get to meet our hot intern?
I did.
Give him a seat over here. Let Johnny sit down.
Yes.
Do you know Dan?
I don't know if I do.
I don't think we've met.
He's part of the P. Musketeers.
Nice.
That includes myself and Ron Bennington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I did. I met that.
And Teddy.
We have nice iced coffee for yourself, Johnny?
Yeah, you know,
nice.
the guy outside our place makes the best iced coffee. It's like crack.
Is that right?
It's addictive. Yeah, it's good.
You take iced coffee with milk?
Yeah, a little sugar.
Why when people say something is positive, they say it's like crack, and no one will ever say crack is so fucking good. I love it.
I just mean that it's addictive more than... So I could use any really addictive type of substance.
Well,
But crack is the go-to.
Yeah. No one will ever say, "Oh my God, it's so good." It's like methamphetamine.
It's like meth in a cup.
Yeah,
it's heroin.
And heroin is I'm going to say it. Some people might take it away. Much better addiction to have than crack. You're better off being a heroin addict.
Seems like
than
it.
a crack addict.
Calmer.
Seems like you bounce back too.
Here is Tim. Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Ron. You might know this more than I do, but Nolan Ryan once played for the Mets.
He was a Mets player.
Like a season.
No, he won a World Series with them, and he was drafted by them.
Chris, I said non-New York player.
Counts.
I got to end up paying this guy off right now. Tim, you're going into the pretty good prize closet.
It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize. Prize closet. We have good prizes. It's a pretty good prize. It's a pretty good prize. Prize closet. We're pretty good prizes.
Hey, man. Try to call back because you hung up, but you won the Help signed by Sissy Spacek. Good job on Nolan Ryan.
How's that tie in with Sissy Spacek? They both ended up in Texas?
Because Nolan Ryan was a sissy for leaving the Mets.
Oh, that's stupid.
Doesn't make sense. I love Sissy Spacek, though. Side note.
Oh, I had her on the show one time.
Just love her.
Fell in love with her.
Is that when she signed the Help DVD?
Yeah, she signed the Help TV, and he's taking all the fucking credit for it right now, but that was me. Jenny, What are you doing here during crabbing season?
Well,
why would you stop
I just
by?
flew back from Cleveland.
I saw the
I gotta go back soon. No, I have another.
Yeah.
My return flight's in another 40 minutes. I gotta get out there to.
You enjoyed last night? You enjoyed Cleveland last night?
It was good. Yeah, we did a lot of Cleveland-like things, and then I watched all the kids do their talking.
We debated that. Dan thought he was awful. Eric Trump, I thought he did fantastic.
Don Jr.
Don Jr. was great. Tiffany's a little awkward, kind of.
She's a child.
She's so young.
She kind of reminded me of Miley Cyrus, or maybe the girl from Saturday Night Live playing Miley Cyrus.
People have been saying that, yeah.
You know who I thought she looked like? Who's the actress whose tit fell out?
Could be a number of them. Tara Reid.
Tara Reid.
Yeah, she got a little bit of a
Yeah.
Tara Reid thing. There's no way, and I'm not shaming in any way, but there's no way that that's her nose. I've never seen such a narrow, tiny little nose.
Well, she gives off the impression of a pageant girl, and you have to remember she was raised by a pageant mom.
Yeah, Marla Maples.
But don't you feel like you're watching someone who's clearly, and you're watching on television live, like someone who's clearly, and she hasn't been a part of the campaign yet, so she's clearly like, kind of not a part of this in the same way that her siblings have. And you feel like you're watching someone who's like just really uncomfortable and really like not in a position to be there. And the things,
Well,
the
I think
examples,
she wants to be part of that family very much.
she was bringing up of like why my dad should be president. Well, my friend died, and he was the first one to call me. That was so bizarre, and like,
wouldn't you expect that? Like, the weird one to me was when they let New York take it over the top with the numbers. All the Trump children hugged, except for her. It was the three of them did, and then I think they realized it, and then they brought her in. But
They're
it was
not used to it. She's
it's
from
gotta
another family.
Yeah, no.
I think it's incredibly sweet that they bring this girl in and say, "We didn't grow up with you. You grew up on the other side. We don't share a mom, but we're your brothers and sisters." They're not trying to cut her out of the family fortune. Is it awkward? Yeah, but a lot of people have.
And again, it would be a very difficult thing to pull off, a speech of any kind, but then in that position, she doesn't have the experience.
She's a kid.
Yeah, she's
Wait till
that's
Barron.
how I...
Wait till Barron speaks. I mean, he's just a little kid.
Love that little
It's going to be
Barron.
all Pokemon talk. He's going to come out in a little gold fucking Model T Ford that he drives around.
They were talking about how, they say they're trying to raise him normally. He has his own floor in their 3-floor penthouse at Trump Towers. It's his own floor as a 9-year-old. That's
Good.
pretty cool.
Good.
I mean, he should,
He's like me. He slept in the attic. I have my own floor. But we didn't
Luxurious.
have heat and air conditioning.
I still don't get, and the whole thing is, I haven't heard a single thing of how more jobs make America better. Like, nothing
I brought that
aside,
up today.
It's just bashing Hillary.
And we all know Hillary's a sociopath, even the people that vote for her. But we've known her since 1992.
She's our sociopath.
You're not going to change anyone. Like, you have got this show that you're going to do something specifically cool other than build the wall, which I got to tell you,
it's not that
doesn't
cool.
fucking do
that
shit
has
for
not
me.
been really brought up.
Yeah.
In these last 2 days.
No one even yells build the wall anymore.
No, but they definitely love chanting, lock her up. And like Christie up there with the, putting her on trial. I read through the fact checking this morning of that one, and it wasn't all right there.
Don Jr. Brought up something I know that's near and dear to you, the anti-public school rant that he got into, which, again, we have a public school system. I know some people think it's not good enough, but the fact that you could go, anyone, no matter how much money they have, and go to a school and learn, it's a pretty amazing thing. Do we want to make it better? Always. Is it the teacher's fault, the way he pointed out last night? That's why Christie has a 33% rating.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
not winning over the hearts and minds by saying the teachers. And then what are we supposed to do? Pay for everyone's private school of their choice?
Charter schools? Is that what he's advocating?
I don't know, but
really get
who's
it.
supposed to pay them? The government? And then we have no fucking say over where that money goes to?
He also, if you look on, it might have been Olbermann, they put a side-by-side of another pundit from last year, and there's a entire paragraph.
That guy said he helped write the speech.
But he lifted it, so he wrote the speech, the word-for-word
Yeah, he just
version
gave
of
him
it.
his old speech, like I'll do with people all the time.
There you go.
Yeah. That's why I gave Chris my carny stories. I'm like, look, I'm done with them. You say that your grandmother was a carny.
Thank you.
You used to go out there in the summer.
Thank you.
Just doesn't matter to me anymore. I've had it.
But it's definitely raucous on the floor,
But
though.
I don't want to go through everybody's speech by speech to make sure. Leave that Melania alone.
Oh,
she's
tried.
adorable.
Leave Melania alone.
In my opinion, she did it. She looked great in that white dress, too.
Great.
Well, yeah.
Very nice.
I love the Trump entrance too that night with the.
It was.
I cried. It was beautiful.
Someone did it up to the Undertaker music, and it was really good.
Anyone
it was
who's watched wrestling,
good.
I saw U2 come out to the same bit in 1989. It's been around. When they were acting like they'd never seen it before, I'm like, I guess people really don't go to a lot of rock concerts. I guess it's the same as baseball.
This guy's going to talk again tonight?
Yes.
It's the third night in a row that no one's ever done at least only one night.
Why do you have a problem with it? We're
I don't. I'm fine with it. It was great. That's on the big television. It was kind of like Big Brother taking over the speech. I'm here in Trump Tower.
I mean, his integrity out the window the second Scott Baio starts talking at a political convention.
Integrity was out the fucking window with this thing a long time ago. And I know you love who I call Billary, but
Chachi.
This is what we're going to be doing. Look, Chachki did the best he could.
I was quoted as saying in my living room last night, my feeling is that the Democratic convention will be even more depressing to watch.
Look, I'm going to tell you this. When Chachi was talking the other night, Gary Marshall hung himself with a belt.
Who was quoting Dan in his living room?
Hold on, dude. Yeah, I'm just getting a big laugh out of fucking Dan. You got to fucking. You don't say a thing for an hour. Ronnie B's fucking milking a laugh, and all of a sudden, I hear you talking over it.
We actually have the break also one more time.
We'll be right back, Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. Our buddy Hard Rock Johnny, back from Cleveland, there's news coming in that Trump at one point wanted Kasich, but Kasich, I think, won it too much.
What was his demands?
I think he wanted to run policy. He kind of wanted to run the government and let Trump be the guy who comes in and waves. Let me turn this off.
No, it's all right.
You sure?
Yes, I'm bundled up.
But bundled up that's not comfortable.
It's comfortable in here.
I'm completely comfortable. You know, Joe Jackson put it best, different for girls.
Don't you know
that it's different for girls? Now, the biggest news story, and it's not getting a lot of heat right now, is Roger Ailes, the man who really built Fox News right across the street, is being forced out. Supposedly, there are so many sexual abuse charges that Fox doesn't want to fight. But you know, Murdoch gets a lot of credit, but this is the man who built this thing, and from being an idea into being an absolute powerhouse. And he's going to be out. Here's the interesting thing, though. The biggest stars at that network have an out deal that if Roger Ailes leaves, they could get out of their contract. Could he take those guys over, start a new network, and off they are? For years, I've said, instead of trying an MSNBC, you should have the second conservative network. Johnny, you know enough about radio to know that if you come in and you want to flip your station, go after the biggest station, you'll at least get a piece of the pie.
Absolutely. And why wouldn't he do it?
Yeah, so he's got Bill O'Reilly that can leave. He has
Hannity can leave.
Hannity and Greta.
Van Susteren.
Yeah.
Yeah. These people have the opportunity to go with him, which means that he would start off. But I don't know whether they're going to do it. They must be comfortable in their slots, and you know what's in it for them.
Where would it go? Like, where would that land? I mean, you know, obviously, you got to find a network, or does it go to one of those, like, you know, an online kind of thing?
No. Look, let's look at all the networks that are out there, right? Point me at a network that wouldn't at least be interested in seeing. Lifetime could easily become Patriot News. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, whatever network you're looking at would probably make more money being the number two. I'm not even saying you have to beat them, but you split their viewers and you make a ton of money. And it doesn't really hurt the conservative movement because now they'll have two stations, you know? So nobody would say, oh, this is hurting us.
And they have, I mean, the amount of disposable income in that demographic is
old white people. That's where the money
ridiculous. That's why, Imus was, had a very small audience, but they were loyal, and it was that they had all that money.
They could buy money. Yeah, they could buy things. Now, I don't know if they'll want to do that because I don't know how many people know that they started the cooking channel, and that's where all the old guys that were on the Food Network before it became just around the clock fucking dog shit. And people would rather watch around the clock dog shit than go over and watch Emerald Lagasse and Mario Batali because it's on a different fucking channel.
And they've already established something with.
Yeah, it's a piece of real estate. It's a restaurant with a good location.
I hate watching the Food Network now with all those. That one guy I can't stand.
I used to watch it obsessively. I haven't watched it in years.
It's the Chopped channel now.
It stopped being about cooking.
Yeah.
I don't mind Chopped as much because there actually is a little bit of cooking involved in that.
That's gross.
That one's actually some cooking.
Really
but do I have to watch another Guy Fieri thing? Guys, grocery games, diners, drive-ins, and I
don't watch any of it. I don't watch any of it. And I agree. I remember when I got into the Food Network, probably in the late 90s, it was specifically for grilling shows. Any kind of grilling show.
Grilling and chilling?
Yeah, I would love grilling and chilling. And that's when I thought, I don't like to cook, I just like to grill. But now I can understand because of being in Blue Apron how a recipe works and whether or not it's one that I'd be willing to tackle. But those kind of shows, I guess, don't interest people anymore.
No, I used to love Emerald, and then you'd get the Essence of Emerald, which was the non-live show that he would do that would give a little more explanation.
And Emerald I don't know whether you've ever been to any of his fucking restaurants. They're great.
I have never been to, I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to an Emerald's restaurant where it always amazed me. We'd go with 2 people or 10. Everybody's entree hits the table at the exact same time.
They present it.
It's absolutely, the service is always great. The food is always great. I mean, they do a good job running that organization however they do it. Because, he can't be there. But
he opens every restaurant and he goes, this is the way we're going to do that. Yeah. That's what those chefs love to do. They love to open a restaurant. Sometimes, they get too far going with it, where they have too many that they could actually keep an eye on it. But if they have a tight organization. But anyway, the fact is, we could have, let's say you take O'Reilly, Hannity, and you pick up an Anthony Cumia. You got something like that. Now you got prime time ready to go.
It's already set.
I don't know. I think there's going to be more conservative. Why hasn't anyone ever offered Ann Coulter a show? It seems like she would do very well in that world.
Yeah, she definitely seems that she would have big ratings.
But Ann Coulter said this, no woman that she's ever known who's worked at Fox News doesn't have a story about this else.
That's what she said?
Yeah, doing the give me a hug and...
That's crazy.
Give me a piggyback, he would do that. Or yeah, and he used to have this thing called... I think he did a thing called Fitty Tuck. I don't even know what it means. I didn't figure it out. I guess it's some kind of wordplay. I don't know.
I don't think I want to play Fitty Tuck.
Mm-hmm. With 50 Cent.
Well, I think the campaign's over, so what I'm looking at over there.
What is that?
Omarosa is handling Trump's outreach effort, so we're in.
Really a bad idea.
We're in. That's it. Omarosa is the savior of the Trump.
No,
apparently.
what is the outreach effort?
Well, I'm guessing. I don't want to be anything too racially, but
she's going to work to black people, is what you're saying, mate?
Well, it seems.
Spike Lee already clobbered her with that stuff the other day, using all the old 1930s slang.
She's the official African American outreach person. He hired her officially.
Dude, what? Why wouldn't he at least pick the ball player? Get Michael Strahan into it, something like that.
Strahan would love it.
I don't know if she seems like a woman of the people enough.
I don't know.
Those people for sure. She's
any people. Isn't that her whole thing? Is that she's
hates her.
A prickly pear?
But I bet. It seems like she'd hang out with white people more than anybody else. Don't you think that they need to crowd that too? Isn't the crowd too light and they're chanting? And the Democrats are going to do the same thing, so it won't be. I used to just how crazy a room would get. It would just be
Look at how
insane.
wide the aisles are. Like you could stand 5
It's
people.
New Year's Eve. It's like when you could drive a car at New Year's Eve if you wanted to.
That's one of my favorite things is I get that New Year's Eve all access pass, and I could walk up to 57th Street from the Hard Rock, and I could drive an 18-wheeler up the middle of the street. You can't even, it's wide open.
By the way, I saw this when I was coming in today at 57th and 5th Avenue, Bill Cunningham Corner.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
You had seen it before?
I read about it. I haven't seen the corner yet.
Yeah, it's not going to stay that way forever,
Yeah.
so you should go up and get your picture taken there. But I used to see him all the time, and I thought, maybe today is the day he'll ask about my sneakers.
I had a friend who was photographed by him, and I don't think I've ever been more jealous of that type of thing. Like your friend gets a cool thing, like any success. For some reason, that bothered the hell out of me. I was like, God damn it! I was like, I wish that was me.
Well, you're a good friend. That's the thing about you. You're a true and loyal friend.
Like if I had been there, I'd have pushed her out of the way.
Well,
Take a look at
these
these
old boots. But what he liked was somebody that he could see trends taking place on the street.
Yes.
And being like, oh, it seems like boots are in this spring. Very funny way to spend your life. And he was really the Jeffrey Gurian.
Yeah,
of
he
that
jumped
world.
around.
He did. It was funny the other day with Jeffrey. I caught myself. I almost said I was doing the bonfire gig, and I was I'm going to be at the. I don't know. You know what I mean? I like with just a single protester.
Yeah.
It's always with pink. I think if I was starting an NFL team, my colors would be pink. That way, when it does get to be breast cancer, my crowd wouldn't complain at all. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't see what everyone's bitching about. It's just pink. It'll look like all the other teams are pulling for us. This is Trump's biker force.
And then what group? I can always forget what group that is. I think that it's
I think they're called Bikers for Trump.
Look at the guy behind the bikers. I'm going to crumple your sign. Don't show that.
she's Code Pink is this her thing. I don't know what that. I think it's a pro-choice.
I don't know why anybody thinks that taking down someone's banner looks good. You know what I mean? Just like, look at the dumb banner.
Take this down and I'll stomp it because I disagree with the words on this banner.
It's just a banner. You ever been to wrestling? It's
Just
packed with
ripping
them.
it up.
No one reads banners and changes their minds. I thought I was a Hogan fan until I saw that banner.
Think of this.
Dude,
Now it doesn't exist anymore.
when I was managing wrestlers at one time, we were doing a dark match before WWE, and a guy had an anti-me and my team's banner, but he had like a card, and he was in the first row. And I went over to rip it up, and I ripped through his nights of things. And he was so pissed that later I ended up becoming friends with a guy, Cave Dave. But I destroyed his entire night. And I was just trying to heel play it, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess not. I guess I overdid it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Too far.
It's like when Frank sprained that girl's ankle by being a
Oh
big
God, what an idiot! No.
And I literally was thinking, I'm like, I can't change character, but I feel terrible. I just ruined all of his banners for the night. You see the suits against the WWE now?
Oh, yeah, the Paul Orndorff is suing them. Snook is suing them. Everybody's trying to get that scratch.
What is this for now?
Head injuries late in life.
Oh, Jesus.
Bullshit.
Let's go over to Dave. Dave, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy. I was watching the convention last night, like a lot of people. Did you notice how similar Trump's daughter looks like the Canadian golfer Brooke Henderson?
Not familiar.
Let's see. Well, they're blondes. Blondes have a way of looking similar.
I still think she's got the Tara Reid vibes. All right, let's do side by side with this girl.
It's blonde California girls. They kind of look the same.
Is that the... Oh, that's not the girl who spoke, the golfer who spoke last night right now.
No.
Which I thought was a little weird because she's like, I've golfed with lots of billionaires. I'm like, that's how many billionaires are you golfing with, ma'am? And how does that happen? I don't understand.
It's one of the many things I'm proud of about my life. Is the amount of billionaires I've golfed with.
Some grass next to a billionaire.
There is 23 billionaires in this country. I've golfed with 18 of them. There's 5 still on my fuck it list. All right, see if you agree with this. Sarah McPants wrote to us, hiring an African-American outreach person even seems racist. You can't talk to black people yourself. Can you black talk to these people? What we're talking about.
Omarosa, please come translate for us.
Just don't know if she's the right one.
Ron keeps saying that Fox viewers are old people, but if you look at the demographics, they're all the same. How can demographics be all the same? Oh, you mean of news people? Yes, that's why I'm saying to have a news network is a good idea. And most networks don't care what the content is. You care what what you can sell. And Fox sells a lot of shit on there. I would definitely like to have my own goddamn conservative news thing. I think I could run something competitive. And I had talked to some people about that before, that there are some crazy young conservative people out there that aren't caught up into, let's say, the religious stuff or the abortion stuff or the gay stuff. And I think that's the kind of pro-Republican thing I would run against them.
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm starting selling MSNBC. But no, I know a lot of fucking people who they just don't want to pay taxes. You know what I mean? So they vote with the Republicans.
Yeah, there's a lot of just tax related.
By the way, in my entire lifetime, there's a thing of like, hey, I was so glad the taxes are so low now. There's been no time in my life that everyone said, isn't it great how low taxes are?
Hey, shit.
And I've lived through Republicans, Democrats. We're never happy with the taxes. It's actually bad for me now because I don't see it. Like when I used to have to look at my paycheck. What the fuck? Picking up for taxes? What the fuck, bro? You know, they would actually have it written there. Now I'm only mad once a fucking year. Chris should have his stuff sent directly to the liquor store near his house. You're doing better with that, right? You said private drinking when no one's around?
No, not private
drinking and smoking?
I'm not drinking. I'm not smoking. I don't even smell like smoke. My
all because of your football dream. Have your neighbors noticed?
Oh yeah, I forgot your name.
You know what? She treats me even worse now, and I don't know why. She just gives me the cold shoulder all the time. I'm eventually when I run her, I'm like, hey. Doesn't smell like smoke anymore, does it?
You should just run a smoke machine.
Probably not the way to get her to like you more.
Yeah, that's.
I know at this point, I don't want her to like me. She busted my balls for so many fucking years,
and yet you bring it up that you saying that she's giving you the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
He's icing.
So you're thinking about it.
Yeah. That means you'd like this to be different.
Do you like her?
No.
You sure?
No.
Do you have a neighbor crush?
Do not have a neighbor.
I think you need to watch that Tony Robbins Netflix.
I've been thinking about it. How is it?
Fucking infomercial for nuts.
It's perfect for me.
Who sits around and thinks about watching a documentary? I'm pondering whether or not I'm going to take an hour and a half out of my life.
Nah, I'll just sit here in silence.
Yep.
What?
My wife literally, while I was just texting me 5 minutes ago, I'm watching the Tony Robbins documentary. I'm going to stop it so we could watch it together.
Oh my God, Johnny.
No.
Johnny, could you take 5 minutes a day? He has destroyed his voice from talking so much.
And he had a low voice even.
Yeah, so now he just talks like Shrek, like it's just.
I love the last thing that he did where 50-something people had to go to the hospital with second and third degree burns on their feet from the coal walk.
No.
He doesn't do that anymore, but they've started an ice cube walk. So, picture those ice cubes and just stepping over top of them. Are you a self-help guy?
No.
Well, you wouldn't still have that goatee.
No, I never got into the self-help thing.
You're excited. You've got the suite for Guns N' Roses.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Have you ever seen Guns N' Roses before?
No, I never. Back in the day, I was not. I never went to any of those concerts when they were around here. I don't know why.
I saw them their first tour where they opened for Motley Crue, and they were fucking an incredible band. seriously, within 2 years of that, it almost felt like they were like a classic rock band, already looking back. Like, that first album blew up so much. I don't know if they ever felt like they could follow it, They were the biggest band in the world up to Nirvana,
They never really did follow that first. I mean, there was,
I agree.
Got into that weirdness of the spaghetti incident and the Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were just
there was some good,
but there was some great stuff.
There was some good songs in there, but yeah, you're right. If anyone said their favorite album by that band, it was their first album.
I don't think there's anyone who's ever said anything different if you said, what's your favorite Guns N' Roses album?
Yeah.
Except maybe Eddie Trunk, because he always likes to be a little different.
I don't know. I bet he'd still pick that.
He's very upset he can't go to this concert.
What, is he introducing fucking Whitesnake?
No, this is a big one. This is Hall of Fame weekend, where his pal, Mike Piazza, is being inducted into Hall of Fame, and Eddie was invited as a guest by Mike.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
That is a cool, I mean, he was kind of going through what they do up there, and it's
unbelievable.
He said it's amazing.
And Piazza is going to be so effective because Piazza, not only a great ball player, but also a guy who came up loving the history of baseball. Yep. Not a lot of those guys do. Like fucking, when you see the Darryl Strawberry doc, he had no idea who Ted Williams was. When they said, you look like Ted Williams, and he's like, who? And then they showed him, and he's like, that's a white man. I look nothing like Ted Williams. But that's always amazing to me. He was from California. He said, I had never really heard of New York or knew anything about it. And they drafted me.
That's so weird.
It's crazy. But Piazza is a guy, because I think his dad was a big baseball guy.
Yep.
So as a little kid, and not just baseball, he actually knew sports itself, but
sports and music.
That's thrilling to be able to go up and be part of that with him.
No, it's pretty cool. I mean,
who's inducting him? Did they have a name?
I don't know who the induction is. I don't remember. I saw it, but I can't remember who it was.
It's this weekend?
Yeah.
Who's part of his class? Who's going in with Piazza?
Griffey.
That's pure class right there.
It's a good class.
Love Griffey.
It took Piazza a little longer than it should have to get in. Oh, it's a crazy.
I think this is the third year.
Third year,
Third
yeah.
or second.
Well, it was that era, and there had always been whispers and allegations, but never the finger point.
I don't know.
That was the that would be the whisper. That's exactly what it
said. Spills from people, and he gets it from Chester. And they bring it down to Elton.
What about heroin?
Yeah, they bring the heroin down too. Piazza, and he's got long hair.
I don't think that's good.
Piazza was a guy, when he lived in Florida, everyone always said, Mike Piazza came into this bar I was at last night. And the following line would always be, with the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And then there would be like gay rumors. And I'm like, well, how? Where would he have time? He is somehow.
Or the privacy.
He's finding more beautiful women than Hugh Hefner. Why would he also, no one ever said, I saw him with the most gorgeous fucking security I've ever seen in my life.
When my first baseball game I went to, all the dudes in the stadium were chanting, "Do it for Sam Champion." And my mom was like, "Why are you all yelling that?" And they were like, "Because he likes to fuck Sam Champion." So there was a bunch of gay rumors about him and Sam Champion back then.
Is that when he was a Dodger?
No, when he played here.
They still fucking wrote him?
They called him gay. They called him that he was dating Sam Champion.
Why did they think he was dating? Oh, because they were friends.
Buddies, and they would always be pictured like running together and working out.
Okay, that changes everything.
He had to do the poor guy had to do a press conference and say, "I'm not gay."
That's the gayest thing you could do.
That's what ignore the story. Just ignore it.
And before he went, he went, "How's my hair look?" That's the worst thing to bring up. I don't want to start whispering.
I don't know. I think
he's with Sam Champion again.
I believe you 100%.
I wonder, would you be able to say, Sam Champion, listen, still want to be buddies. I'm always going to watch you on the news. It's better if we don't work out together. For me at work. This could be a good fucking movie. We call it The People's Champion. We get The Rock to star as Piazza. That's me. I'm a fucking people troll. The Ghostbuster said that Leslie Jones says she quit Twitter. She's done with it.
She is over it. She had a bad experience. She got her account was compromised. Somebody had hacked into her Twitter account and started posting a bunch of offensive stuff as though it was her. Then she got on. She was trying to defend herself. People were not believing her. She was really upset for being targeted. And she really feels like it was, she was saying, taking this role, she has gotten so much negative attention, and it just was heartbreaking. She was on there like, guys, I'm crying right now.
So weird that people are that upset about it.
No, I'm asked if I'm charging up.
Oh, no.
It's crazy.
Did you,
I guess Dan took it.
You left it with the P Musketeers, maybe?
No, I think it might have fallen on the floor or something. I don't know.
Wait, what about when you were sitting over there?
I never sit over there.
I saw you.
To.
I saw you sitting over there.
I did as well.
I say call it, but I always turn it off.
There's no way to know. Chris.
Chris got his flashlight out.
Yes. I want you to get the police and everybody in town put together volunteers to find that phone.
All right, I'm going to get the volunteers again.
Let's search together. We'll sweep
search,
the whole place.
hurry up and search.
Search.
Remember those days? Thank you, Chris.
It was in your pocket?
Yeah.
No! He just pulled it out of his ass.
I just saw you pull it out of your pocket.
There was nothing in my pockets.
By pocket, do you mean ass? Because that's where I saw it come from.
Pocket.
Ew.
Smelly phone.
Wait, hold on. So Fez has been texting me, and I missed all this.
Oh.
He's got me updates on the Kasich thing. So this is what he's saying. Trump offered to let Kasich run everything if he was VP. Trump Jr. said he made the offer to Kasich, saying he would be the most powerful VP in history. If elected, Trump would put Kasich in charge of foreign and domestic policy. Kasich would basically be doing the same job. And Fez said, hopefully Pence wasn't offered the same deal. Now, do you think that this is true? If this is true, in my opinion, you can't get behind the guy. If he said to someone, you do everything.
Right. He just wants to be that figurehead. He just wants to he just wants to say he won. That's all he wants.
He wants to put the Trump name on
the White House, yes.
He wants to stamp it emblazoned with the Trump name.
It's literally like Trump water. He doesn't run anything.
No.
Yeah.
So are you saying the same thing? Could you vote for Trump right now?
No, I couldn't before, and I won't after.
But you're going to.
Vito?
I am voting for him.
Still knowing that he told a fucking meathead like Kasich, I'll let you run? I mean, this is literally a meathead. This is a head made out of meat.
I think he said it in like a Big Brother way, where he said he made the deal to his face, and then he went to the DR after, and he was like, I'm not going to give him anything I just said. That deal.
That wouldn't exactly make him electable.
But you wouldn't have to make that deal with someone. Like, you could just be like, do you want to be my vice president? And that would be a big enough.
Fuck, that's huge.
That's almost as big as president.
Because people always act like that's a nothing job. See that on someone's fucking, tombstone. You're like, fuck, I fucking was a vice president. It's great. I'm trying to think of, like, does anyone even know where a Dan Quayle is these days? I can't even tell you where
is he?
I don't even know where Al Gore is.
Where does Dan Quayle live? Where does he reside?
I think he was an Indiana guy, if I'm not wrong about that. He was somewhere, maybe Illinois, somewhere in the middle of the country.
It's the mystery. And really, who cares?
If you met Dan Quayle, you wouldn't think it was cool?
Yes, I would, but I don't care where he is right now.
Well, you don't care where anybody is right now.
Not really, no. Me.
I feel like it's been so long since I saw Dan Quayle's face that he could, like, walk down the hall and I'd be like, who's that guy?
It's any of those, like, even the guys who were, but then you get the ones who weren't vice president, like, you don't even remember who the running mates were. Who was the guy, was it Dukakis in the tank? Like, they have those moments where you just remember that one thing, and then you just don't remember where they are as soon as the election's over.
Well, it always amazes me when I see Bill Bradley come in here to do stuff. And that was, I'm sure he's a Hall of Fame ball player, right?
Yeah, he's a
great senator, well respected. Ran against Bill Clinton, came incredibly close to winning that ticket. could have been the president of the United States. Then now he's just, I just see him like reading into, like a speech that he lays down here at Sirius all the time. And I've seen him on the street. Like that you're coming about as close as you can to be the most powerful man in the world. John Kerry came very close to being the most powerful man in the world. Has had an amazing career, senator and not the same though, is it? You don't get on money.
Mm-mm. You don't get that bump.
But maybe it's even that way with ex-presidents, Maybe they just feel like Eric Estrada or something, Like, no, I used to be big.
Paunchy.
I'm not lying.
So paunchy.
I know that we're a little over, but you went and lined up stuff for me to do after the show, right?
Yeah, we have to do something, yeah.
Why do you have it so close? I'm in here. I'm having a fun time hanging out.
I fucked up.
Johnny's here.
I know.
He's invited some of us to go and see Guns N' Roses.
Not me. This is a Johnny Go-Go ticket, by the way, not a...
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, this is all Go-Go.
Oh,
go into a go-go.
I'm just
everybody.
I'm the deliverer.
Yeah.
I'm the deliverer.
That's
Well,
nice.
this is so exciting.
I asked Johnny Go-Go to do this thing. We're going to make an announcement tomorrow, Chris.
Tomorrow.
And I feel like he blew me off. Like, I don't care.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what? The thing about me is my arms are wide open. You know what I mean? Love can run one way with me. I don't care. It doesn't have to run both ways.
That's beautiful. And that's very big of you.
Yeah. I'm not like Vito where I'm like, everything's like Big Brother. Because you're watching Big Brother is the only reason you come up with that analogy.
Everything's like Big Brother right
Look,
now. I don't know if you notice it.
I am done with the Pokemon hat. That craze seems to be over right now.
It'll
Move
never
on to
die.
something new.
I'm still playing.
I'm very excited to be getting all these tweets from everybody in Canada saying that it is up and running as of 2 days ago. So,
Do you catch different Pokemon there? Because I might have to
yes.
check it
You're
out.
going to be in one of the most beautiful cities in North America. And instead of enjoying the churches,
I'll be able to see it
and
through
the beautiful
lens.
parks, you're going to be running around trying to snatch fake Pokemons.
There's a Pokemon in that church.
They're real to me, damn it.
It's sad.
Gail, we could get Team Rocket shirts.
You're going to get a Team Gurion shirt. How many matters?
Gurion News Network, GNN.
I heard he's got plenty planned for you to do.
Yeah, I got my schedule from him yesterday.
Part of it's going to be scrubbing his back. Is it too much?
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever you guys need me to do, whatever anybody needs me to do, I'm that guy.
Then why aren't you like that on this show? Why do we have to go in a different country to meet this?
That's Montreal, Vito.
Okay. You're an expo. They might be getting a new ball team, too. There's talk about it.
Yeah, they're trying to steal him from Tampa.
All right. I'm from Tampa?
That's one of the teams that they're trying to get to move because they won't give them a
I
new
hate
stadium.
stealing teams, though. You know?
That's mean.
Where would they go? Into the fucking American League, then?
There's an uneven right now, so they probably go into the NL because it's uneven.
Back to the East? Then we'll have an extra team in the East? That doesn't seem fair.
Because the what team moved over? The Astros are in the AL now, so there's the uneven number, so they'd have to go to the NL, or another team would move.
All right. We got to break. No, not break. We're leaving. I guess the break is going to be 21 hours, as I say, around the horn. This is around the horn. Now I'm going to throw a paper at the fucking camera. Like no one's ever saw Letterman before. Anyway, enjoy your day. We'll keep up with you. Chris, you're doing your show. Is it going to be live?
I'll be periscoping live around 5 p.m.
And where does this take place at?
I call it the pit. It's where I'm training downstairs. That's where I'm periscoping.
I thought that you were going to be on someone's podcast.
I'm going to be on the same time. I'm going to be periscoping.
So they're going to be at the pit with you?
Yeah. They'll have recorded with them.
All right. Aaron Rodgers today, 5 o'clock. We'll see you guys all tomorrow for the big Thursday show. And we'll see you again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!